You breathe in and the room becomes a little wider. You sit up, uncurl your shoulders, and let your jaw release. You are here to trust yourself again. That trust has always lived inside you. It has been buried under noise, rushed days, and the habit of checking everyone else's needs before your own. Today you begin a quieter practice. You come back to your own voice. You choose what fits. You're listening to Queen Audiobooks. You slow your breathing and let the pace of your thoughts follow. Trust is not a dramatic decision. It is a series of small choices that stack into a steady life. You do not need to prove anything to earn your own trust. You build it by noticing, deciding, and following through. You build it by speaking simply when a moment asks for clarity. You build it by choosing a calmer plan over a perfect one. Right now, picture a volume dial in your mind. It controls external noise. It also controls inner commentary that tries to rush or doubt you. Imagine turning the dial down 2 clicks. The room feels calmer. You still hear life, but you hear your own voice more. You are not pushing anything away. You are just creating a space where you can listen. Try a quick reset. Close your eyes for 3 soft breaths. On the inhale, say I notice. On the exhale, say I choose. Each breath is a stake in the ground. You notice what is here. You choose your next step. You do not need to solve your week. You only guide the next minute. This is how trust forms, decision by decision, quiet and real. Today I choose the pace that fits me. Trust deepens when you tell yourself the truth. The truth may be gentle, it may be firm, it is never cruel. Self-trust grows when you keep small promises to yourself. Drink a glass of water before you check your messages. Put your phone down for 1 song's length. Send the email you keep postponing with 1 honest sentence at the top. Each follow-through tells your body that you can count on you. Here is a micro practice you can do in under 1 minute. Put your hand on your chest. Name the feeling you are having out loud with 1 word. Calm, tired, annoyed, eager. Then name 1 need that pairs with that feeling. Rest, space, clarity, support. When you name a feeling and a need, you move from fog to focus. You treat yourself like someone you are responsible for. Small steps done steadily are enough. Self-trust also requires boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they are a map. They show you where you end and where someone else begins. Healthy boundaries protect your time, your energy, your attention, and your money. You do not set boundaries to control others. You set them to lead yourself. When you lead yourself, people start to understand how to work with you. The people who care about you will adapt. The people who benefit from your confusion may resist. Your clarity is still worth it. A short boundary script for work in email form. Keep it simple and polite. Write this and stop. You do not over-explain. You do not apologize for having limits. Thanks for the request. I can deliver the first draft by Friday at 3 p.m. If you need it earlier, let me know what can move from my current list. This is clear. It offers a trade, not a sacrifice. It prevents invisible overtime that drains trust. A short boundary script for a friend over chat. Keep it warm and honest. I want to give this the energy it deserves, and tonight I need rest. Can we talk on Saturday morning or send me the top line now? This keeps connection open while you protect your bandwidth. You do not have to choose between the friendship and your well-being. You choose both. A short boundary script for a family moment face-to-face. Simple sentences. Calm tone. I hear that this matters to you. I am not able to decide right now. I will come back to you tomorrow after dinner. If pressure continues, add 1 more line. Repeating the question will not change my timeline. You are modeling respect for your own decision process without shaming anyone. Clear limits make room for real care. Be kind, be clear, be consistent. Focus grows when you give your attention a home. Pick 1 anchor for today. It can be a sentence, a task, or a value. If you choose the sentence "I finish 1 thing before I switch," you will feel friction every time you start bouncing. That friction is a reminder to return. If you choose the task, I send the proposal, you hold the line through distractions. If you choose the value learn, you will ask better questions and skip performative busyness. Anchors keep you from drifting. Here is a micro practice to reset focus. Set a 1-minute timer. During that minute, clean your immediate visual field. Close tabs you do not need. Put stray items in a small container to sort later. Move your glass of water within reach. You are not organizing your whole life. You are shaping the next hour to support you. Your money deserves this same clear attention. Money clarity is not about perfect spreadsheets. It is about alignment. Spend on what you value and cut what you do not. Start light. Choose one small recurring cost to review today. Ask if it earns its place. If it does not, cancel it. If it does, label it with the value it supports: care, learning, health, joy. When you link spending to values, guilt reduces and trust grows. You are not reacting, you are choosing. Every dollar I spend has a job I can name. Here is a micro practice for money clarity. Open your Notes app and create 2 short lists. The first list is keep. The second list is reduce. Add 3 items to each. Keep might include fresh groceries, weekly yoga class, books. Reduce might include impulse delivery fees, unused subscriptions, late-night scrolling that leads to random buys. With these lists, you are not judging. You are adjusting. You are directing your resources toward what matters. Self-trust improves when your body feels safe with your choices. Your nervous system listens to your schedule. Cramming creates noise. Spacious plans create calm. When you accept that you cannot do everything, you become free to do what matters. This is not laziness. This is precision. You apply your focus where it counts most, and you let the rest be later or never. Not now is a valid answer. Another micro practice. The 60-second plan. Choose one thing you will complete and one thing you will drop today. Say both out loud. I will send the update by noon. I will drop the optional meeting and read the summary later. Your voice makes the decision real. You judge the day by the promises you did make, not the fantasy list you did not. When self-doubt shows up, you do not fight it. You meet it with evidence and care. Talk to yourself like a capable friend. Use simple, steady lines. You can say, I have handled days like this. You can say, I do not need to feel ready to begin. You can say, I trust myself to adjust. Self-trust is not rigid. It has a spine and it has flexibility. You will learn as you go. Progress over drama every time. Consider the role of expectations. Some may be inherited, some may be imagined, some may be placed on you by people who love you but do not share your limits. When those expectations clash with your values, you feel a small alarm inside. Do not ignore that signal. Ask questions. Who benefits if I follow this script? Who pays the cost? What choice respects both me and the relationship? Trust calls for brave kindness. If you tend to over-explain, try a shorter shape. Name your decision, give one reason, and offer a path forward. That is enough. Here is a work example you can say in a meeting. I can own the client brief. I cannot also own the deck. I propose we delegate slides to Jordan and meet to align tomorrow. Fewer words, more clarity. You will feel the old pull to say more. You will breathe and stop. Trust grows in the pause. Your friendships deserve boundaries that protect your joy. You are allowed to say no to activities that drain you. You are allowed to say yes to smaller, richer moments. You can text this. I care about you and I want to spend time that feels good for both of us. Coffee for an hour on Sunday works. The late night bar does not. You are offering connection in a way that fits your energy. You are not making yourself disappear to belong. Family patterns can be strong. You can honor your family and still change your part in the pattern. Prepare one sentence for the next gathering. I am not discussing my body or my money. If someone crosses that boundary, repeat the sentence once, then change the subject or leave the room for a short walk. You do not need to debate your own boundary. You live it. Silence is also a choice I can make. Trust is easier when you see your week at a glance. Try a one-page weekly view, not an exhaustive list, a compass. At the top, write your 3 priorities. Under each, write the next action only. No more than 1 line per action. At the bottom, write one nice thing you will do for your future self. Set up the coffee, lay out your clothes, pre-draft a tough message. When the week shifts, you update the compass. You do not spin, you reorient. Here is a micro practice to close your day. Name 3 wins out loud, no matter how small. I kept my boundary with that call. I made a values-based money choice. I finished the draft I promised. Then name 1 lesson with a calm tone. Next time I will start earlier. You end the day in truth, wins and lessons, not highs and failures. This reinforces a steady identity. You are someone who learns. Done is a kind way to be with yourself. Your money story may carry old voices. You do not have to keep them. You can build a clear, simple rhythm. Choose 1 money day each week. On that day, you look at inflows and outflows. You categorize them by value, not by guilt. You move $10 into a tiny buffer fund and you name it safety. You plan 1 purchase that brings real joy and you name it celebration. Small on purpose. You are teaching your system that you are safe with your own choices. Self-trust needs repair when it has been bent by people-pleasing. People-pleasing looks like agreement, but it costs you connection with yourself. Real connection requires 2 truths in the room, the other person's truth and yours. When you present both without drama, relationships that can hold you will grow stronger. Relationships that only work when you go missing will fall away. That is not a failure. That is clarity. If you worry about seeming difficult, remember this. Boundaries reduce confusion. They teach others how to succeed with you. They reduce resentment. They are a gift to the relationship. Your tone can be warm while your words are firm. Your body language can be open while your decision is final. Try this line the next time a colleague pushes a deadline without asking. I can help if we move the due date to Tuesday. If it must be Monday, this will require dropping the report. You are not defensive. You are distributing reality. When anxiety spikes, come back to the dial. Turn it down 2 clicks, name your anchor, choose the next action that takes 1 minute or less. Send the calendar invite. Write the subject line, put your shoes by the door for a morning walk. You do not need the perfect plan to begin. You need a first step that respects your energy. This is how you keep your word to yourself. Calm is a decision I practice. Trust loves light. Bring light into your day in small ways. Stand by a window for 10 breaths. Drink water before caffeine. Step outside for fresh air between calls. Set your phone to grayscale after 8 at night to soften the pull. These are not rules, they are supports. Self-trust is not built by force. It is built by aligned supports that make good choices easier. If your schedule is packed, find micro-openings. The minute before a meeting is a reset. The first minute after a meeting is another. During those minutes, do not scroll. Sit back, ask 1 clear question. What matters most now? Your brain answers, you act. Over time, these tiny acts of choice stack into a life you recognize as yours. Here is 1 more micro practice you can use anywhere. The naming game. Look around and name 5 things you see, 4 things you feel, 3 sounds you hear, 2 scents you notice, 1 thought you choose. Simple and grounding. Your mind stops spinning, you become present. From presence, your next decision is cleaner. You are learning a new way to be with your time, your money, your energy, and your relationships. You are choosing clarity over chaos. You are choosing kind strength over silent resentment. You are choosing small, honest promises and then keeping them. This is the quiet craft of trusting yourself again. It does not need applause, it needs your steady attention. Every time I follow through, I become someone I trust. You finish this part with 1 commitment. Pick 1 sentence from today that you will use in the next 24 hours. Write it down. Keep it where you can see it. Say it when the moment comes. Self-trust is not a feeling you chase. It is a practice you live. You are ready. You began by turning the noise down and choosing small, honest actions that rebuild your self-trust. You practiced clear boundaries with work, friends, and family, and you linked your time and money to your values so your days match what matters. Today you deepen that practice. You move from noticing and choosing to designing simple systems that hold your choices when life gets loud. You do not need a complicated method. You need a few reliable supports you can repeat even on a tired day. You build guardrails for your attention, your energy, and your money so you do not have to rely on willpower alone. This is quiet architecture. You make it once, you maintain it lightly, and it keeps you steady. Begin with your attention. Your mind likes to wander because it is trying to protect you from missing something important. Thank it, then give it a job. The job is one focus at a time. You create a working rhythm that respects your brain. 90 minutes is too long. 15 minutes is often enough. Choose the smallest slice that moves today forward and declare it your unit of focus. When those 15 minutes end, you check in. If you still have fuel, you do one more. If you do not, you pause without judgment and reset. Here is a micro practice that fits any schedule. Set a timer for 1 minute. In that minute, write a tiny start for the hardest task. The file name, the first sentence, the opening formula, the subject line. When the minute ends, you decide. Continue for 14 more minutes or schedule the next step. You reduce friction by making the start smaller than your resistance. Starting small is not weakness, it is strategy. Decision fatigue erodes trust because you make promises in the morning that future you cannot keep. Solve this by scripting default choices for repeat moments. Default choices are not rigid rules. They are helpful baselines you can change when needed. You choose a default morning, a default work start, a default shutdown, a default evening, and a default money check. When the day gets messy, you return to default rather than inventing a new plan from scratch. This keeps your promises realistic. A simple work default might look like this. You begin the day by opening your calendar, not your inbox. You confirm your 3 priorities match your actual time blocks. You protect the first focus block, even if it is only 15 minutes. You answer messages after you complete that block, not before. If you must break the default once, you do it once. You do not let one exception become the shape of your whole day. For focus and calm, set boundaries on your digital environment. Turn off non-essential alerts. Move distracting apps off your home screen. Unsubscribe from updates that do not serve your current season. Your attention is the engine of your outcomes. You guard it like a resource. Here is a boundary script you can send to your team in chat to reinforce your focus default. I am heads down on the Q3 analysis until 11 a.m. I will respond to messages after that block. If something is urgent before then, please call. This is respectful. It creates a simple path for true urgency and protects time for real work. Your sense of safety grows when you see progress. Progress requires clean handoffs, especially with your future self. The most effective handoff is a short note. At the end of each work block, write a single line. Next step at 2 p.m. is to open the draft and fix the intro. This line prevents the future confusion that costs you 20 minutes of ramp-up. Self-trust blooms when future you opens the file and knows exactly what to do. Clarity is a gift I can give my future self. Your relationships benefit from systems too. You set expectations once simply and repeat them when needed. People learn how to work with you by what you tolerate and what you reinforce. You practice reinforcement with calm repetition, not long explanations. If someone forgets a boundary, you restate it and offer a workable option. You remove the tug-of-war. A short friend script over text when plans sprawl beyond your bandwidth. I'm in for a short catch-up Sunday, 1 hour max. If the plan grows, I'll sit this one out and cheer you on. This preserves connection while you protect energy. You do not apologize for needing a smaller container for social time. You shape the plan so it fits both your care and your capacity. Family often runs on tradition. Traditions can be lovely. They can also become obligations that drain you. You are allowed to renegotiate. You do it with kindness and clarity. Name what you can do, name what you cannot, and suggest a new form that keeps the spirit while protecting your limits. I love seeing everyone on holidays. This year I am hosting only lunch 12 to 2. If you want a longer visit, let's plan a separate weekend walk. You offer a structure that works rather than disappearing or resenting. Here is a micro practice for the moment before a hard boundary conversation. Stand up, roll your shoulders once, and place your feet flat on the floor. Name your aim in a single sentence. I want a respectful plan that fits my energy. Then speak one slower notch than usual. Lower pace signals steadiness and helps both people stay regulated. Slow is smooth, smooth becomes clear. Now turn to your money with the same gentle structure. Money clarity grows when you shorten the distance between a decision and its reflection. You build a 1-minute money mirror. Each night, you open your notes and log the day's spending in 3 lines. Needs, joy later. Needs might be groceries or rent. Joy might be a friend's birthday gift or a cafe tea. Later is saving or debt paydown. When you see the 3 lines, you understand where your energy went. You do not judge, you watch and learn. Small awareness prevents large drift. You keep a micro buffer to reduce anxiety. The amount can be tiny. $10 becomes 20 becomes 50. Name it safety. Only use it for true surprises, not for boredom or soothing. Every time you add a little, you tell your nervous system you protect yourself. You respond to life rather than react to panic. This is how dignity grows in daily finances. Every dollar has a role, I choose the roles. In busy seasons, you can still practice value-based spending. Choose one value to spotlight this month. Health, learning, relationships, creativity, stability. Direct one planned purchase to that value. Reduce one habitual expense that does not serve it. Example, spotlight health. You set a budget for fresh lunches and skip random delivery fees. The swap is not punishment. It is alignment. You feel the difference because your money tells a story you like. When requests come that cost both time and money, you use a blended boundary. For a work request that extends scope without extra budget, you write, "Glad to support this addition." To keep quality high, we'll need to add 6 hours at the standard rate or remove the video segment. Which option works for you? You avoid vague sacrifice. You place options on the table. People respect clear trade-offs. Your day becomes kinder when you allow recovery on purpose. Self-trust is not only keeping promises, it is also repairing when you overpromise. You will occasionally say yes too fast. You will catch it. Then you renegotiate early with calm, factual language. I reviewed the timeline. I can deliver the report Wednesday at 4. To meet Monday, I would need an additional reviewer or a smaller scope. Please advise. You do not wait until the last minute. Early truth preserves credibility. Here is a micro practice to prevent overcommitment. Before you say yes, add a silent beat. Ask, what will this replace? If you cannot name a specific trade, the yes is not real. You either reshape the request or you decline. You can say, I want to help and my plate is full. I can contribute a quick review on Thursday, not ownership. That is a clean boundary set with respect. Not now keeps me honest. Your environment can do half the work for you. Design tiny friction and tiny ease. Put your running shoes next to the bed so a morning walk is easier than scrolling. Store your credit card in a drawer so impulse buys online require getting up. Keep a water glass beside your laptop. Place a sticky note on your monitor with your day's anchor sentence. These are not grand gestures. They are subtle signals that shape behavior without force. Meetings often drain trust because they steal time you promised to focused work. You take control of the part you can. If you are invited without a clear purpose, ask for one with a short, polite line. To prepare well, what decision do we need to leave with and what inputs do you need from me? If the meeting does not require you, propose an asynchronous update. I can send my 2 key points by 10 a.m. Would that work? You refuse confusion and you offer a better shape. When you host a meeting, you protect everyone's attention. Start with a single sentence outcome. End with owners and timing. Capture next steps in writing immediately after. That recap is a trust deposit. People know what to do and when. You reduce future friction and the follow-up fog that costs hours. Here is a boundary script for family in text when last-minute requests arrive often. I want to support you and I plan my week in advance. For non-urgent needs, please ask 2 days ahead. If it is urgent, call and say urgent at the start. You give a path that fits both care and structure. Over time, most people will follow it because you teach them how to succeed with you. When friendships involve money, clarity prevents resentment. If a group trip or dinner splits unevenly, you can say, I'm in for the shared plan with a spend cap of $40 per person. If costs go higher, I'll meet you all for dessert instead. This is simple, warm, and firm. You offer a way to stay connected without carrying a cost that does not fit. Honest limits are a form of care. On days when doubt rises, you return to evidence. Evidence is what you did, not what you felt. You track one proof of self-trust each day. Proof can be small: sent the tough email, chose a value-aligned purchase, kept a rest boundary, walked for 10 minutes, said no without a book-length apology. At the end of the week, you scan your proofs. Patterns appear. You stop arguing with yourself about who you are because the data is steady. Here is a micro practice for evenings that get scattered. The 2-jar reset. Place 2 bowls on your table. Write your remaining to-dos on small slips. Move only 3 slips into the active bowl. Everything else goes into later. Complete or schedule the 3. When the 3rd is done, your workday is over. You end clean rather than stretching into vague, guilt-fueled hours that do not produce quality. When your budget feels tight, you still hold dignity by naming choices out loud. I am choosing the library for this month's reads. I am choosing homemade coffee on weekdays. I am choosing a simple dinner with a friend instead of a restaurant. Naming replaces shame with agency. You are not deprived, you are discerning. If you manage others at work, your boundaries protect the whole team. You model sustainable pace. You refuse performative urgency. You praise clarity and on-time completion over heroic last-minute rescues. You ask, what can we drop to do this well? Your team learns that honesty is safer than pretending. This culture deposits trust into every project. When you do not manage, you still influence the culture. You write subject lines that tell the truth. You link your ask to the reason. You propose a path and a deadline that match reality. Request: approve vendor shortlist by Tuesday 4 p.m. Reason: locks pricing for Q4. People open your emails because they are short and useful. Your reputation shifts from responsive to reliable, which is deeper and more respected. Reliable beats reactive. You strengthen your boundaries by rehearsing brief lines in calm moments. Practice them out loud so they sit ready when stress rises. You do not need many. 5 will carry you far. I am not available for that. Here is what I can offer. I will come back to you tomorrow. That does not work for me. Let me stop you there. These lines are respectful and firm. They keep you within your lane even when others drift into it. Here is a micro practice you can use before spending. The breath by pause. Inhale and ask, what value does this serve? Exhale and ask, what will this replace? If you cannot answer both, delay 24 hours. If you can, proceed with a calm yes. Over time, this pause saves both dollars and regret. You become the kind of person you trust with your wallet. Your body is an ally in every boundary. Watch for physical tells. A tight jaw when a request arrives. A sinking chest when plans expand. Warmth in your face when you feel cornered. These are early signals. You do not wait until you say yes and then panic. You catch the signal and you buy yourself time. Thanks for asking. I will check my capacity and reply by 4. Time is your friend. Use it to make a choice that fits. You keep relationships close by naming your yes clearly. When you do say yes, say it with presence. Yes, I can help you move on Saturday 9 to 11. Yes, I will lead the client call and I will need the brief by noon tomorrow. Yes, I can contribute and my budget is $30. A precise yes is kinder than a vague maybe that turns into a last-minute no. Precision is a form of respect. On weeks when you slip, you do not catastrophize. You repair. You send the late message with a clean apology and the new plan. You adjust your budget without drama. You take a quiet walk and reset your attention. Self-trust grows more from repair than from perfection. You become someone who can count on herself to tell the truth and course correct. If people push back against your new clarity, remember they are adapting to a new map. Some will test the edges. You do not need to convince anyone. You repeat your boundary once. If the pressure continues, you reduce exposure or exit. You can say, I've shared my limit. I will step out now and we can revisit next week. Over time, the tests fade because your consistency teaches others what is possible. Your calendar is a canvas. Paint white space into it. White space is not extra. It is the part that makes the rest of the picture make sense. You use white space for transition, for brief outdoor light, for a stretch, for a money check, for a short note to a friend. If your calendar is packed edge to edge, trust will slip because there is no room to breathe. You are allowed to leave openings. You are allowed to protect them. Here is a final micro practice to close today, the 2-sentence journal. Sentence 1, what choice today aligned with my values? Sentence 2, what choice tomorrow will support my energy and money? Short and sufficient. You end with direction rather than swirl. Consistency is quieter than motivation, and it wins. You are building a steady self who chooses with care, communicates with clarity, and spends and saves with intention. You are not chasing a perfect system. You are choosing a few practices that work for a real life. You will keep some, you will adjust others, and you will let a few go. That is not failure. That is tailoring a life to fit you. You built simple systems that hold your choices when life gets loud, and you practiced defaults that protected your attention, energy, and money. Today you refine your decision-making so your actions feel aligned even when pressure rises and opinions crowd in. You begin with identity before agenda. Your calendar shows what you do, but your identity drives why you do it. You choose a calm, strong identity statement that guides your day. You say it before you look at your phone. I am someone who chooses with care and follows through with ease. This is not a mantra you must believe perfectly. It is a direction you face. When you forget, you turn back toward it. Identity leads, behavior follows. Clarity grows when you name your values in plain language. You pick 3. For this season, you choose health, honesty, and stewardship. Health means you protect your rest and movement. Honesty means you say the simple, true thing rather than the long, polite fog. Stewardship means you treat your time, attention, and money like resources to place with intent. With values named, decisions stop being moral drama. They become placement questions. Where does this fit? What serves the 3? Here is a micro practice you can do in under 1 minute. Write your 3 values at the top of a note. Underneath, write 1 current decision. Draw 3 short dashes and jot 1 way each value would guide the choice. Choose the smallest step that honors 2 out of 3. You are not chasing perfect alignment. You are choosing enough alignment to move. 2 aligned steps today beat 1 perfect plan that never starts. You now strengthen your choices with a simple frame, one-way door or two-way door. A one-way door decision is costly to reverse. A two-way door can be tested and adjusted. When you label the door, your pace becomes wise. Two-way doors get small experiments. One-way doors get more time and counsel. You stop treating every choice like a cliff. Practice the two-way door with money. You want to try a new fitness class. Instead of buying a package, you buy a single class and schedule it this week. You check how it fits your energy and your budget. If it works, you commit for a month. If it does not, you exit with no self-judgment. Testing is not indecision, it is respectful exploration. Experiment first, commit after it earns its place. Work pressure often disguises itself as urgency. Your job is to test urgency with a clear, short question. In meetings or chats, ask, "What breaks if we do this later?" Often, nothing breaks. Sometimes, something does. You make trade-offs in the open rather than absorbing invisible costs. Here is a boundary script you can send by email at work when scope increases without alignment. Thanks for the update. To include the new analytics section and keep quality, we can extend the deadline to Thursday 4 p.m. or remove the case study. Please confirm which path you prefer. You are not resisting. You are shaping. You refuse the fantasy where you absorb the extra without time or support. Friendships deepen with honest bandwidth. You do not vanish when you are low, you show up in a way that fits. Try this text when a friend invites a long plan that does not match your week. Yes to connecting, and my energy is tight. A walk for 45 minutes after work on Wednesday would be great. If you want longer, let's pick a weekend soon. You protect your energy and protect the friendship. Family patterns may invite you into roles you no longer occupy. You can love people and decline roles that drain you. If a relative expects you to be the on-call organizer, try a calm reset in person. I care about smooth plans and I cannot coordinate this one. If you want, I can share the last checklist and you can run with it. You offer help that fits your lane without re-entering a role you left. Care is real, capacity is real, both matter. You build steadiness with predecisions. A predecision is a choice you make once so you do not remake it every time. You choose a predecision for morning, midday, and evening. Morning, water before caffeine. Midday, stretch and breathe before opening messages after lunch. Evening, screens down at 10 p.m., book or quiet music for 10 minutes. These tiny rails reduce friction. You trust yourself because you keep small, sturdy promises. Here is a micro practice for afternoon drift. Set a 1-minute timer. Stand up and do 3 things: refill water, open a window, or step outside. Write the next line of the task you avoided. When the minute ends, you either continue for 14 minutes or you schedule a clean stop time. Decision replaces drift. Momentum is built in minutes, not marathons. Self-trust grows when you own your yes. A vague yes creates future resentment. A precise yes creates relief. Practice precise yes at work. When someone asks you to join a project, say, "Yes, I can review the final deck for clarity on Wednesday between 1 and 2. I cannot own edits beyond that slot." Notice the relief in your body when your words match reality. That relief is trust returning. Saying no becomes easier when you give a path that respects both sides. For a friend who loves spontaneous calls, but you work best with plans, try, "I love talking and I keep structure during the week. Send me 2 time options and I'll pick one." You are not rejecting the person. You are redirecting the method. Money clarity continues with a light, consistent rhythm. You stop treating money as a monthly mystery and make it a daily whisper. Keep the 3-line money mirror from last part and add a weekly 10-minute review on Sundays. You look at needs, joy later for the week. You ask one question: does next week match my values and reality? If not, you adjust before the week begins. Gentle prevention beats harsh correction. Here is a ready-to-say line for the next spending choice that feels fuzzy. I can afford this only if it replaces something else I can name. If you cannot name the replacement, you wait. Waiting is not punishment. Waiting is power. Waiting gives me back my choice. Your attention needs edges. Edges create safety. You choose 3 kinds of edges: time edge, task edge, and talk edge. Time edge means you decide when you start and stop instead of working until you blur. Task edge means you define done before you begin. Talk edge means you protect how people engage with you. Use a talk edge at work when conversations loop. Let me summarize what we agree on and propose a next step to test. Then write the single next action and the owner. Loops turn into ladders. You climb one rung at a time rather than walking in circles. Use a talk edge with family when topics cross your boundary. You can say, "I'm not discussing my relationship status. If we keep going there, I'll step outside and rejoin when we switch topics." You speak calmly. You follow through once. Repetition is teaching. Argument is a drain. Here is a micro practice before any boundary talk. Place one hand on your belly and breathe until your exhale is longer than your inhale. Count 3 beats in, 4 beats out. Do 3 rounds. Longer exhales cue your system that you are safe. Safety makes your voice steady. A steady voice, simple words, same message. You refine how you process input. Not all feedback deserves equal weight. You rank feedback by 3 filters: relevance, expertise, relationship. If the person has lived experience with the topic, cares about your growth, and understands your context, their input earns attention. If not, you thank them and move on. You stop outsourcing your self-trust to the loudest voice in the room. Ambition remains welcome. You still aim high, but you scale wisely. You define ceiling and floor for goals. The floor is the minimum that counts as a kept promise. The ceiling is the best case. If your goal is daily movement, the floor is a 10-minute walk. The ceiling is a full workout. Floors protect momentum. Ceilings invite growth. Low floors are not lazy. They are generous on-ramp design. Decision speed becomes ethical when it respects consequences. You do not rush a choice that affects other people's stability. You do move quickly on personal experiments. Labeling impact keeps you honest. You tell yourself the truth about who pays the cost and who receives the benefit. You choose accordingly. When your calendar shows a wall of meetings, you design a pattern interrupt. You end meetings 5 minutes early and use those minutes for a mini closure. Write the one-line next step, send it, stand up, sip water, breathe. Those 5 minutes save 50 later because you do not reassemble context from scratch. You stop the leak where trust often drains. Close the loop now, save the hour later. If you lead a project, you support boundaries with transparent planning. Publish a short plan with owners, time frames, and what done looks like. Invite pushback early. Ask, what feels tight? What can we simplify? When people feel safe to tell the truth, quality rises. When truth is punished, hidden fires grow. You choose the culture you model. If you are an individual contributor, you can still ask for clarity with respectful firmness. To hit the deadline with quality, I need a final brief by 2 p.m. today and 1 reviewer assigned. Can you confirm? You are not needy. You are clear about inputs. Inputs determine outcomes. Friend boundaries thrive with positive invitations. Offer the shape that works. I'm free for a museum hour Saturday at 11. No crowds, just the quiet gallery. Precision makes it easy to say yes. You are not a burden, you are a curator of connection. Family money moments can be tense. You lower the heat with simple terms. If a relative asks to borrow, you can respond, "I don't do loans. I can offer a one-time gift of $50, no payback expected." This keeps love clear and boundaries clean. You do not become a resentful bank. You remain a caring relative with a healthy line. Here is a micro practice for planning purchases. The 3R check: reason, range, replace. Reason is the value it serves. Range is the budget window that fits today. Replace is the item or cost you will drop. Write those 3 words in a note before any buy over $100. You will spend on what matters and skip what does not with no drama. Money is a tool, I decide how to use it. You refine your inner talk. Harshness never made you braver. Precision does. Replace generalized blame with specific observations and choices. Not "I'm bad with time." Instead, "I underestimate writing by 30 minutes. I will add that buffer." Not "I'm terrible with money." Instead, "late night scrolling leads to impulse buys. I will charge my phone outside the bedroom." You remove shame and add design. Energy varies day to day. You plan for a low, medium, and high energy version of your top task. On low days, you do the floor. On medium, you do the plan. On high, you ride the wave but stop before you burn out. This keeps you in motion without using today's high to punish tomorrow's self. When conflict appears, you practice clean assertions. State what you see, name the impact, make a request. When deadlines shift without notice, "I miss my quality bar and work late." Going forward, "I need 24 hours notice or a reduced scope." Clear, short, respectful, you teach people how to succeed with you. If someone responds with heat, you cool the temperature by anchoring to facts and process. "I hear you're frustrated. Let's return to the timeline and decide what moves. I'm willing to adjust with clear trade-offs." Refusing the emotional tug-of-war is not cold. It is protective of outcomes and relationship. Facts first, then feelings, then forward. You nourish self-trust with recovery rituals. Recovery is not indulgence. It is maintenance. 5 minutes outdoors after a tough call. A shower to reset your nervous system before family dinner. A short playlist that signals shut down at night. Rituals tell your body you are safe to release. A safe body makes braver choices. When doubts pile up, you gather proof. Keep a log called Kept Promises. 1 line per day. Sent the proposal, walked for 10 minutes. Held a budget line. Said no once. On rough days, read the last 10 lines. You are not your worst moment. You are your pattern. The pattern is changing. Use language that keeps doors open without erasing your limits. "I'm a maybe pending energy. I'll confirm by Friday at noon." "I'm a yes to the idea and a no to this week. Let's revisit in 2. "I'm interested if we can cap the time at 1 hour." These lines hold both care and capacity. People who value you will adapt. Here is a boundary script for work in chat when you are being tagged after hours. "I'll pick this up at 9 a.m. tomorrow. For after-hours issues, please text urgent and I'll respond when I can." You set a channel and a threshold. Emergencies remain covered. Your life remains yours. Here is a friend script over voice when a conversation becomes advice you did not ask for. "I appreciate your care. I'm looking for listening more than solutions right now." You name the help you want. Good friends will meet you there. Here is a family script in person when old teasing returns. I'm not available for jokes about my choices. If it continues, I'll head out early. You do not plead, you state and act. Respect goes both ways. I will model it and require it. As you integrate these tools, remember that consistency lives in small cycles. Plan, act, review, adjust. Do not wait for a perfect week to begin. Begin inside this imperfect one. Name your values. Label the door. Place the edges. Speak the clear line. Spend with purpose. Recover on purpose. The shape will hold you because you are building it to fit your real life. Close today with a 2-minute blueprint for tomorrow. Write 1 line for focus, 1 for relationships, 1 for money. Focus, finish the client email by 10. Relationships, text a check-in to Maya by noon. Money, log spending and needs, joy later before dinner. Put the note where you will see it at breakfast. This is not a heavy plan. It is a compass you can actually follow. Small and true beats big and brittle. You are learning to trust your inner pace and your steady word. You do not chase 10 hacks. You choose a few practices that you keep. You rely less on willpower and more on design. You speak simply. You spend and save with care. You allow rest. You build a reputation with yourself that is quiet and strong. Day by day, choice by choice, you are becoming the person you already sensed you could be. You have been refining decisions, setting edges, and spending with intent. Now you turn toward resiliency and repair, the quiet arts that keep self-trust alive when life presses back. You will make choices that do not land as planned. You will meet resistance. You will feel the pull to abandon your boundaries because someone is disappointed. Today you practice staying steady through pushback, repairing cleanly when you slip, and continuing without drama. This is not about being hard. It is about being exact, gentle, and consistent. Begin with the truth that progress is lumpy. You will have clear days and muddy days. Self-trust is not earned by never slipping. It is earned by how you respond after you slip. You stop the spiral early. You name what happened in plain language, ask what matters now, and take a step that re-enters alignment. This keeps you moving. Motion rebuilds confidence faster than rumination. You practice a small ritual called name, claim, aim. You name the moment with 1 sentence. I missed the boundary and worked late. You claim your part without piling on blame. I chose to respond after hours when I had set a different rule. You aim with a concrete next action. I will draft a polite line for next time and move the deck review to morning. This shape shortens recovery. It returns you to agency. Repair is part of the plan, not proof of failure. When pressure rises, people may use urgency, guilt, or confusion to pull you back into old roles. You prepare your responses when calm so they are ready when it is loud. Written lines are not scripts to control others, they are anchors to keep you from abandoning yourself. You deliver them with a steady pace and neutral tone. You do not debate your limit. You state it and you offer a clear path. Here is a boundary script for work by email when someone bypasses your agreed process. To keep quality and avoid rework, please route requests through the project channel. I'll pick this up at 9 a.m. tomorrow after it's posted there. You point to the container and you keep your time promise. You are not scolding, you are steering. Here is a boundary script for a friend over text when a standing plan starts to expand. I'm in for our Thursday check-in, 30 minutes as usual. If we want longer, let's book a weekend walk. You keep the ritual small and nourishing. You prevent drift into a draining shape. The friendship benefits from clarity. Here is a family script in person when a relative pushes for last-minute help you cannot give. I'm not available today. If you want support, ask 2 days ahead and I'll see what I can do. You say it once calmly. If the push continues, you repeat the line with fewer words. Then you step away for a short reset. Simple line, same tone, follow through. Your focus steadies when you design for interruptions. Interruption is not a moral failing, it is a fact of a busy life. You build an interruption protocol you can run in under a minute. When someone or something breaks your block, you do 3 small moves. You mark your place with a short note at the top of your dock, you set a timer for the new task's limit, and you book a return time on your calendar. This keeps context from evaporating. It keeps your day from dissolving into fragments. Here is a micro practice you can use right now. Open your current work item and type one sentence labeled resume. Resume, finish paragraph 2 and add the example from last quarter. Then set a return time on your calendar even if it is later today. You have built a clear bridge back. Bridges guard your attention better than sheer will. Context saved is time saved. Your money is another place where interruption shows up as unexpected costs or emotions. You plan for those too. Create a small category called cushion that is separate from safety. Cushion covers the tiny frictions of real life, a bus fare you forgot, a replacement charger, a host gift. When cushion exists, you stop rating safety for daily bumps. You keep dignity because your plan matched reality. If you share money decisions with a partner or family member, you reduce conflict by moving from vague principles to visible agreements. Pick a monthly meeting on a calm day. Keep it short and kind. Use the 3-line mirror you already track and add one sentence each. What felt good, what felt sticky, what we try next. You avoid the blame game by sticking to observations and experiments. Money becomes a shared design problem rather than a battlefield. I spend on what I value, and I adjust without shame. Here is a micro practice for money clarity in under a minute. Before any purchase over $50, text yourself 2 messages, value served and trade made. Example, value served, health. Trade made, skip 2 deliveries this month. Seeing those 2 lines changes the decision from a vague want to a chosen placement. If you cannot write both lines, you wait 24 hours and revisit with a clearer head. Resilience requires that you pay attention to energy debt. Energy debt accumulates when you keep saying yes to small requests that do not match your capacity. You do not owe anyone your exhaustion. You owe yourself honest placement of energy. Use a simple forecast. You look at your next 3 days and label each day low, medium, or high capacity. Then you route tasks and social plans accordingly. When you are low, you choose floors. When you are high, you do ceilings with margins. This matching reduces the boom and bust cycle. When you feel your boundary waver, slow your body before you answer. Your nervous system needs a cue that you are safe to hold the line. Lower your shoulders. Rest your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Press your feet into the floor. Breathe out longer than you breathe in. Then speak one sentence only. Don't explain yet. If the other person asks for more, add a second sentence. You stay in control by pacing your words. Slow body, steady words. Work often rewards speed that looks like commitment, even when it damages quality. You will be tempted to prove your value by taking on more. You will instead prove your value by delivering what you said you would deliver on time at the agreed standard, and by communicating early when variables change. Reliability earns more trust than heroics. You remind yourself that your job is not to absorb all gaps. Your job is to make trade-offs visible and to deliver your part with integrity. Here is a work script for chat when a meeting is placed over your focus block without notice. I'm heads down on deliverable A until 11. If this meeting needs my input, please share the agenda and I'll send notes by 10:45. Otherwise, I'll catch the recap. You assert the value of deep work while offering a path that serves the team. Here is a micro practice to protect your mornings. Before you open messages, write an index card with your day's 3 anchors. 1 focus, 1 relationship, 1 money. Place the card under your keyboard. When drift appears, touch the card, read it, and return. The physical act creates a small ritual that brings your attention home. Friendships thrive when you share your reality early rather than cancel late. If you see a plan colliding with your capacity, send a short message as soon as you know. I want to give you present time and today is too full. Can we reschedule for Sunday morning or share a quick voice note now? Honesty keeps trust intact because you choose connection that fits rather than performative presence that drains both of you. Family harmony improves when roles are explicit. If you have been the default listener, the default driver, or the default fixer, you can remain caring and step out of a role that has become automatic and unfair. You make the invisible visible. I've been the default organizer for a long time. I'm stepping back this quarter. If someone wants to take the lead, I'm glad to share my checklist. You do not defend, you describe and you act. Clarity replaces resentment. Handling feedback is a key part of resilience. You create a personal process that keeps you open without outsourcing your self-worth. First, you ask for specifics. What 2 changes would most improve this draft? Second, you sort input using your relevance, expertise, relationship filters. Third, you integrate what aligns with the goal. Finally, you respond with thanks and a brief summary of changes. You are not defensive. You are directional. This protects your quality and your energy. When a mistake affects others, you repair with brevity and precision. Over-apology makes you look unsure, under-apology erodes trust. You choose a middle shape. I missed the dependency and it delayed your work. I've added a checklist step and will send the updated timeline by 3. Thanks for your patience. You acknowledge impact, name a fix, and deliver the new plan. Then you follow through. Here is a micro practice before any tough message. Write the first draft with all the emotion. Do not send it. Walk for 1 minute or stand up and sip water. Return and edit down to the simplest truthful lines. Remove defensiveness and flattery. Keep facts, impact, and next step. Send. You protect the relationship and your credibility. Facts, impact, next step. Your inner voice deserves the same boundaries you use with others. When harsh talk begins, you interrupt it with accurate language. Not I always mess up. Say I missed this one and I am fixing it. Not they never respect me. Say I did not state my limit clearly. I will do that now. Accuracy reduces heat. Heat blocks learning. Precision opens it. You deepen money clarity by defining enough for this season. Enough is not a static number. It is a practical line that reduces frantic wanting. You choose a minimum viable month, the bills, the basics, a small joy, a small later. You name the amount. You aim to cover that amount with your current income and to build a 1-month buffer over time. Each small deposit is a vote for stability. Each value-aligned spend is a vote for a life you recognize. For shared expenses with friends, you avoid resentment by proposing clean approaches ahead of time. I'm in for dinner if we split evenly with a cap of $35. If it goes higher, I'll join for a drink after. This line is kind and firm. It makes your limit clear before the check arrives. People who value you will appreciate the ease. You stop the silent math that drains joy. When conflict arises at work, you keep the conversation inside a frame that protects both people. You name the shared goal first, then your concern, then a proposal. We both want a smooth launch. I'm concerned about scope creep from late requests. Let's agree on a freeze at noon tomorrow and a backlog for next week. Framing avoids personal attacks and keeps focus on outcomes. You become the person who calms rooms without shrinking truth. Lead with the goal, land with a plan. On days when focus feels far away, you return to sensory anchors. Your brain cannot ruminate and notice your senses with the same intensity. Look at 3 straight lines in your room, feel 2 textures with your fingers, listen for 1 low sound. Then ask, what is my next 1-minute move? Send the subject line, title the doc. Fill cell A1. Small entry points and avoidance. Here is a micro practice for evenings that tend to blur into low-value scrolling. Choose a shutdown phrase and an action. Phrase, work is closed for today. Action: put the laptop in your bag and place the bag by the door. Then do a minute of light tidying or a stretch. The phrase and action pair become a cue that you are allowed to release. Your nervous system learns the sequence and relaxes. Your boundaries grow stronger when you align your environment with your choices. If early meetings make breakfast chaotic, set a tray with a bowl, spoon, tea bag, and banana on the counter the night before. If late-night purchases are your weak spot, remove cards from autofill and place a sticky near your screen with 2 words. Reason, replace. Tiny friction saves future you from cleaning up messes. Tiny ease warms the habits you want to keep. When talking with a manager who praises availability over output, you shift the narrative. You track your results and present them clearly. Last week I shipped the client brief on time, reduced support tickets by 18% with the new template, and created a checklist that cut review time by 30 minutes. To continue this quality, I block focus time 9 to 11. You are not arguing against availability. You are offering evidence that output thrives with protected attention. Friendships often need recalibration when life changes. If you become a parent, take a new role, or move, your capacity shifts. You can keep closeness by naming the change. I miss our long evenings and my bandwidth is different this season. Let's do Sunday voice notes and a monthly coffee. Naming prevents the drift that turns into distance. You offer a new door that keeps you connected. Family conversations can improve when you add structure. Suggest an agenda for recurring topics that spiral and hold the line on length. I can discuss the summer plan for 20 minutes at 6 p.m. Let's list decisions at the top so we end with owners and dates. This is not corporate, it is caring. Families deserve clarity too. Structure protects relationships. Your identity becomes steadier when you track the right kind of evidence. You measure what reinforces who you are becoming: kept boundaries, aligned spending, repaired slips, clear communications. Once a week, write 3 lines: 1 boundary kept, 1 aligned purchase, 1 repair done. This journal reframes your story from chaos to craft. Self-trust thrives on proof. When sadness or anger shows up, you do not push it away. You set a small container, 2 minutes of feeling without fixing. Place a hand on your chest and say, "This is allowed." Then return to a chosen action that fits your values. Feelings inform, values decide. You are not a machine. You are a person who honors emotion while choosing direction. If a colleague escalates with blame, you keep your footing by moving to process. I hear the frustration. Let's map the timeline and the responsibilities so we can adjust the system. Blame focuses on character, process focuses on flow. Fixing flow helps everyone. You become the person people trust to move from heat to helpful. From heat to helpful, that is the move. As you strengthen your repair muscles, you resist the temptation to overcorrect. Overcorrecting swings from no boundaries to rigid walls, from overspending to deprivation. You practice the middle path. When you overspend 1 week, you review the triggers, adjust 2 line items, and return to your plan. When you overwork 1 day, you breathe, end on time the next, and rebuild your morning anchor. You aim for sustainable, not extreme. Extremes erode trust because they are hard to keep. Here is a work script for email when you need to renegotiate a deliverable responsibly. After the client update, the analysis requires new data pulls. To deliver quality, I propose moving the due date to Wednesday 4 p.m. If Monday is firm, I recommend narrowing the scope to sections 1 to 3. Please confirm which path you prefer. You put decisions where they belong. You stay reliable by refusing fantasy planning. Here is a friend script over voice when advice keeps coming unasked. I know you're trying to help. I'm looking for listening more than solutions. Can you do that with me? You hold the relationship steady by asking for the support that actually helps. Here is a family script by text when recurring requests for money feel tough. I don't do loans. I can offer a one-time gift of $40. I hope that helps. Short, warm, firm. You reduce ongoing tension by defining your line. Lines reduce confusion, clarity builds peace. When you forget everything, you come back to the simplest loop. Pause, choose, act, review. Pause to slow your body. Choose the next 1-minute move that aligns with your values. Act without waiting to feel ready. Review gently, ask what helped and what got in the way, and adjust your environment or your plan. You repeat. This loop outperforms effort spikes because it respects how humans actually work. Close today with a 2-minute power down. Write tomorrow's top line for focus, relationships, and money. Focus, edit the report intro between 9 and 9:30. Relationships, send a kind check-in to someone who matters. Money, open the 3-line mirror after dinner and label one spend by value. Place the note where morning you will see it. You are not chasing motivation. You are building rails you can ride even when energy dips. Steady is a choice you can make again now. You are learning to trust yourself not because you never wobble, but because you know how to steer back. You keep small promises, you set respectful lines, you spend where it matters, and you repair with grace. This is grown-up calm, not performative calm. It shows up in your calendar, your messages, your bank app, and your voice. It shows up in your body when you leave a conversation and feel peaceful because your words matched your values. You are building a life that fits you because you keep choosing it. You just practiced resiliency and repair, turning slips into clean course corrections and holding your limits with calm, simple lines. You built bridges for returning to focus and gave your money a clear story with categories that match real life. Now you strengthen your voice. You practice confident communication that respects both you and the other person. You learn how to ask for what fits, negotiate fair trade-offs, and hold space for your priorities without heat. Your aim is not to win arguments. Your aim is to create agreements that work. You speak plainly. You keep pace steady. You stand where your values live and you invite others to meet you there. Begin with intent. Before any important conversation, you decide what good looks like. Good might mean clarity even if the answer is no. Good might mean a fair adjustment rather than a perfect outcome. You write one line to anchor yourself. I want a clear agreement that protects quality and well-being. When you carry intent into the room, you stay aligned when the conversation bends. Here is a micro practice you can do in under 1 minute. Open a blank note and write the letters O, F, R down the page. O for objective, F for facts, R for request. Fill each with one short sentence. Objective, align on timeline and scope. Facts, 2 new tasks were added this week. Request, extend deadline to Thursday 4 p.m. or drop section 3. Take a breath, you are ready. My voice is calm, my ask is clear, and I stand with respect. Communication lands when you separate story from facts. Story is the swirl of motives you assign. Facts are what happened. You build trust by speaking to what you can see and verify. You let the other person share their view without interruption. You respond to the pattern, not to the spike of emotion. You are steady because your footing is reality. At work, negotiation is not conflict, it is design. You are designing a path the team can walk. When a request expands without time or resources, you move from vague discomfort to precise options. You email. To include the new compliance checks and maintain quality, we can extend delivery to Thursday 4 p.m. or remove the infographic. Which option fits? Options keep the conversation adult. You protect outcomes by naming limits. In friendships, negotiation keeps love light. You stop carrying silent resentment. You make the plan shape the energy you actually have. A chat line helps. I'm excited to see you and I'm a weekday short. I'm in for a walk and talk 6 to 7, not dinner. Precision feels kinder than a reluctant yes that turns brittle midway. Friends who care about you will feel the ease of a plan that fits reality. Family conversations can hold more care and less confusion when you name the lane. You can say in person, I want us connected and I won't discuss my career choices today. If we stay on that topic, I'll take a short step outside. You are not threatening. You are explaining how to remain in the same room with comfort. The line supports everyone. Clear requests invite clear agreements. Your voice gains power when your body slows. Before difficult talks, you create a small ritual that signals safety. Stand with your feet hip-width apart, drop your shoulders, and place a hand on your belly. Inhale through the nose for 3, exhale for 5. Do 3 rounds, your heartbeat steadies, your throat loosens, your pace becomes measured. You speak from ground, not from spin. Here is a micro practice for focus before a meeting. Write 3 words on a tiny card and put it beside your laptop. Listen, pause, ask. Listen fully. Pause 2 beats before reply. Ask 1 clarifying question. These simple words shift you from reactive to responsive. Responsive tones carry farther than force. Money deserves this same clarity. You are allowed to talk about your value without apology. You are allowed to ask for fair pay, clean scopes, and realistic deadlines. This is not greed, this is stewardship. You respect your time and expertise so you can do good work without burning out. When money talk makes you tense, you scale it to a human level, a conversation between 2 people solving a shared problem. You practice a smooth, grounded script for a salary review. You say in person or on video, 1 sentence at a time. I appreciate the opportunities this year. I've contributed outcomes I'm proud of, reduced onboarding time by 25% with a new guide, led 2 client renewals totaling $180,000, and created a QA list that cut errors. Based on market data and impact, I'm seeking 7 to 10% adjustment. How can we structure that this quarter? You are not pleading, you are presenting evidence and a range. Your steady tone is part of the message. Here is a ready-to-say line you can use when a rate is challenged for freelance work. That rate reflects the scope and the quality bar. If we need to meet your budget, we can narrow to the essentials. You stay flexible on scope, not on self-respect. Scope can move, my value remains steady. You refine your listening. Listening is not silence. Listening is attention plus curiosity. When someone speaks in a loop, you anchor them to the outcome. You say, I want to make sure I get this right. What decision do we need to leave with? When voices rise, you lower pace and volume and return to the shared goal. You make the room safer by modeling the behavior you want to see. A work boundary script for chat when you are pulled into a thread that does not need you. Thanks for looping me in. I'm stepping out unless there's a decision needed from my side. Tag me for final review by 3 p.m. You exit without drama and give a clear door for re-entry. This protects your focus and sets a norm. A friend boundary script by voice when a conversation slides into gossip. I care about her and I don't want to speculate. Let's talk about us or shift topics. The tone is kind. The line is firm. You keep the relationship while protecting your values. A family boundary script by text when pressure appears around a shared event. I'm available 12 to 2 and not beyond. If plans need more time, I'll join for the first half. You model presence inside your limit. You stop paying with resentment. Limits protect the love I want to keep. You practice the art of asking clean questions. Clean questions remove accusation and lead the other person toward clarity. At work, try, what does done look like in 1 sentence? With friends, try, what would feel good for both of us this week? With family, try, what is the real need under this request? These questions shift conversations from positions to needs. Needs can be met in many ways, positions lock you in. Your day becomes more effective when you pair communication with clear containers. Containers are simple agreements about how and when communication happens. You tell your team, for urgent items, call; for decisions, post in the project channel; for brainstorming, book a 20-minute huddle. Containers turn the flood into a river. Rivers move work forward. Here is a micro practice that dissolves avoidance. If you are delaying a hard message, write the subject line only, alignment needed on scope and timing. Then write the first sentence only. To keep quality, we need to choose between extending to Thursday or removing section 3. Send when you write the second sentence. Short, steady starts prevent a day of dread. Short and honest beats long and late. Money clarity continues with what you say to yourself before you say it to others. You practice a one-line money identity you repeat before negotiations. I'm a calm steward who asks for fair exchange. This settles your nervous system. You are not seeking charity, you are seeking fit. When a conversation becomes foggy, you return to numbers. Numbers are not cold, they are clarifying. You name the rate, the hours, the deliverables, the timeline, and the trade-offs. If you are asked to do unpaid labor with the promise of future opportunity, you hold your ground with a warm refusal that keeps doors open. Thanks for thinking of me. I work within paid scopes. If budget opens, I'm glad to revisit. You do not justify, you state your lane and stay in it. Generosity is a choice, not an obligation. Your focus strengthens when you pre-plan thresholds. A threshold is a point you will not cross without a conscious choice. You pick one for time, one for energy, one for money. Time threshold: I do not add meetings into my first focus block. Energy threshold: I do not accept last-minute evening plans on weekdays. Money threshold: I do not spend over $100 without the 3R check. Thresholds protect your future self from your current impulse. They convert values into action. Here is a micro practice for a crucial work call. Before you join, write 3 lines you will say slowly if tension rises. Line 1 names the goal: we both want a clean launch. Line 2 names a fact: 2 tasks were added this week. Line 3 makes a request with options: extend to Thursday 4 p.m. or drop the infographic. Keep the lines visible. Use them if the room starts to spin. You will sound calm because you prepared calm. In friendships, you deepen trust by being explicit about your bandwidth and specific about your desire to connect. Rather than dodging invitations, you shape them. You text, I want unhurried time with you and this week is heavy. Sunday tea 10 to 11:30 would make me happy. Friends feel valued when you pair a limit with a genuine want. With family, you support the relationship with small structures that cool recurring friction. You propose a planning window. Let's decide logistics on Wednesday nights so weekends stay clearer. You are not imposing control. You are protecting connection. When plans have a rhythm, tension drops and everyone relaxes. Structure makes warmth easier. Your speaking voice is an instrument. You care for it. Hydrate before conversations that matter. Sit or stand tall to give your breath space. Smile just enough to soften your tone when delivering firm lines. Pace 1 notch slower than usual, especially when you say no. Slower words feel more grounded and the listener has time to absorb without pushing back out of confusion. When you receive a no, you practice grace so you can ask with ease the next time. You say, thanks for the clarity. You may ask, what would make this a yes in the future? You collect data rather than take offense. People remember how you respond to limits. Grace invites future openings. At work, you also learn to close loops publicly. After agreements, you send 2 lines. Summary: we're extending delivery to Thursday 4 p.m. and removing the infographic. Next step, I'll share the updated outline by 3. This tiny habit reduces future misunderstandings and refunds time to everyone. People trust you because you make the path visible. In money conversations with loved ones, you create tenderness with transparency. You can say, "My budget is tighter this month. I'm choosing board games and homemade dinner on Friday. I still want time together." Love does not require hiding reality. Love grows when reality is spoken and plans adapt. I tell the truth gently, and we shape a plan that fits. You track micro evidence that your voice works. After a week, write 3 lines: one ask made, one boundary kept, one money choice aligned. Read the lines out loud. Your brain hears the pattern and updates your self-image. You are becoming the kind of person who speaks clearly and lives accordingly. Here is a ready-to-say line when someone interrupts repeatedly. "Hold on, I'm finishing this thought." You do not apologize for speaking, you own your sentence. If interruption continues, you add, "I will wait until I can complete a full point." Your tone stays neutral. You teach the room to make space. Here is a ready-to-say line when a manager praises speed over quality. "I can deliver fast or I can deliver thorough. For this item, which do you prefer?" You are not being clever. You are placing the trade-off on the table where it belongs. Here is a ready-to-say line when a friend asks for advice you do not have. "I can listen and reflect what I hear, or we can research together for 10 minutes. Which helps you?" You offer real help without performing expertise you do not hold. Here is a ready-to-say line when family pushes your timeline. "I decide on Sunday." Repeating the ask won't move the date. Consistent lines reduce future pressure because the pattern becomes clear. Simple lines, steady tone, consistent follow-through. Money grows calmer when you pair clarity with small, courageous asks. If you freelance, propose retainers where it makes sense. To keep quality and continuity, I recommend a monthly retainer for 12 hours at X rate. This locks priority and reduces startup time each month. Retainers stabilize income and protect attention. If the answer is no, you still benefit from having asked. You normalize speaking up for a shape that serves good work. Your calendar reflects your voice. You rename blocks to match outcomes rather than tasks. Not work on deck. Instead, finish slides 1-5, not budget. Instead, label this week's spending needs joy later. Names matter. Names tell you what to do when you land in a block. Names reduce flailing. Reduced flailing keeps trust intact. Here is a micro practice when you feel pressure to agree immediately. Put your index finger and thumb together gently, a small tactile anchor. Say, "I'll confirm by tomorrow at noon." The physical cue reminds you to protect the gap between request and decision. The time promise keeps the relationship clean. You exit the heat and return with a choice that fits. You also learn to celebrate clean no's. A clean no is a kindness because it prevents false hope and complex follow-ups. You can write, "Thanks for thinking of me. I'm not available for this and I hope it lands well." If you want, add a pointer. 2 colleagues who might be a fit are. You decline without leaving the other person lost. That is respect. At work, practice an escalation that preserves tone. When a dependency is stuck, you write, "Flagging a dependency blocking X to deliver by Thursday 4 p.m. We need Y by noon tomorrow. If not feasible, I recommend moving delivery or reducing scope. Please advise by 10. You are not dramatic. You are precise. Precision moves teams faster than urgency words. In friendships, you widen joy with clarity about costs. You can say, "I'm in for the weekend trip if we cap lodging at $90 per night and keep meals simple." If costs rise, you say, "That's beyond my current plan, so I'll cheer you on and join next time." You remain connected without breaking your budget. With family, you experiment with new formats for connection that suit you both. Suggest a standing walk, a weekly call with a time cap, or shared errands. Let's do groceries together Saturday 10 to 11. We talk better while moving. Movement reduces tension. Structure invites presence. A connection can be simple and real. Your communication improves when you let silence do part of the work. After you make a request, stop. Count 3 slow beats in your mind. Let the other person process. Do not fill the space with more words that dilute your ask. Silence is not awkward. Silence is respectful room for thinking. When a conversation goes sideways, you own the reset. We're drifting, let's return to the decision and the options. Or, I'm noticing heat, I want to keep this kind. Can we pause for water and come back in 5? Resets are leadership. You do not need a title to lead, you need presence and direction. Your inner narrative stays clean when you evaluate conversations by process, not only by outcome. Did I state my objective? Did I name facts? Did I make a clear request? Did I listen? When the process is clean, even a no is progress because you have real information. Real information lets you place your energy where it counts. Close today by shaping tomorrow's voice moments. Choose one work ask, one friend connection, one family boundary. Write one sentence for each. Work, request a realistic deadline with options. Friend, propose a small plan that fits. Family, set a gentle, firm line with a path forward. Put the sentences on a note where you will see them. Tomorrow you will speak them with a steady pace and warm tone. You will feel the relief of words that match your values. Calm words, clear requests, fair trade-offs. That is how I lead my life. You strengthened your voice with calm, clear asks and clean boundaries that respect everyone in the room. You paired numbers with values so money talks felt human and fair, and you closed loops so agreements stick. Today you consolidate everything you have built into a daily operating rhythm. You shape quiet structure for your attention, your energy, and your money so that trusting yourself becomes automatic. You reduce friction, you raise signal, and you spend your life on what you actually value. This is not about doing more. It is about doing what fits with steady grace. Start with a simple map for the day. Morning is orientation, midday is delivery, evening is integration. Orientation means you decide what matters before the world gets loud. Delivery means you place your best effort on 1 or 2 outcomes and protect them. Integration means you review, learn, and reset without judgment. When you know the phase you are in, you stop trying to do everything everywhere. You work with your brain rather than against it. Create a tiny morning ritual that anchors you in less than 2 minutes. You rise, you drink water, you put your phone out of reach, you write one line that names the day's anchor. Anchor means the outcome that proves the day moved. Send the brief. Call the clinic, update the resume. One line only. When you choose one anchor, other tasks stop pretending to be urgent. Your attention finally has a home. Here is a micro practice you can do right now. Set a 1-minute timer and title a note today's compass. Write 3 words on separate lines: focus, relationships, money. Add one short sentence under each. Focus, finish the client outline by 11. Relationships, check in on Nadia after lunch. Money, tag today's spending as needs, joy, or later before dinner. Close the note and begin. Attention goes where I point it, and I choose the point. The midday phase is where boundaries protect the work you promised yourself. You cannot deliver quality from a constant scroll. You move from reactive to reliable by building a protective shell around your focus block. You tell your teammates your window and how to reach you for real urgency. You follow the plan because you are becoming a person you trust to keep her word. Here is a boundary script for work by chat that keeps your block clear and respectful. Heads down on the Q4 brief 9 to 10:30, I'll respond after that. If something breaks before then, phone call works. You just taught the room your rhythm. The room will adapt because you repeat the rhythm without drama. A friend pings mid-morning with a long voice note that pulls at your attention. Your friendship matters and your promise to yourself matters. You send a warm, honest line. I'm in a focus block and I care about this. I'll listen at lunch and reply after. You keep connection inside a frame that protects your day. That is love with a backbone. A family member calls while you are drafting and asks for immediate help with a non-urgent errand. You hold your lane with care. I'm at work right now. I can help after 6, or you can send the top 2 details by text and I'll suggest options. You give a path without abandoning your commitment. Respect rises on both sides. Protecting focus is not selfish. It is how I keep my promises. Energy management turns good plans into lived reality. You stop expecting a tired afternoon to act like a fresh morning. You place high-friction tasks where energy is highest and save low-friction maintenance for the dip. You also add micro-chargers that do not take a chunk from your day. Light, water, breath, movement, one song, a 60-second tidy. You choose the smallest action that lifts the needle. Here is a micro practice that resets energy without scrolling. Stand up, take 10 slow steps, roll your shoulders once, and drink a full glass of water. While you drink, decide one next line to write or one cell to fill. Then sit and do only that. You avoid the browser detour because the next move is already chosen. Your money rhythm now becomes a friend rather than a judge. You keep the 3-line mirror and add a gentle weekly check. 10 minutes on a calm evening. You open your notes, you scan needs, joy later, and you ask what felt aligned and what felt noisy. You adjust one small thing. You are not fixing your life. You are tuning it. Tuning creates music where noise used to live. Every dollar I place is a vote for the life I want. You may feel an old urge to make your new rhythm perfect and then punish yourself when life interrupts. You refuse that. You design for real life by building restart points into each day. If the morning slips, you restart at noon. If noon slips, you restart at 4. You do not declare the day ruined. You re-enter with one step and proceed. This is grown-up discipline, flexible, steady, honest. Now you strengthen your relationship with technology. Your phone and laptop can serve your values or scatter them. You choose tools that reduce friction for what matters and add friction for what does not. You pin the apps that lead you toward your anchor. You move distracting apps off your first screen. You set quiet hours and let people know how to reach you for true urgency. Technology becomes a riverbed rather than a floodplain. Here is a micro practice that feels small and changes a lot. Turn off badges on non-essential apps. Badges are tiny alarms. Alarms drain attention. You will still check what matters at the time you choose. You reclaim the ability to place your gaze with intent. At work, you further reduce swirl by naming your outputs precisely. You replace vague tasks with clear finish lines, not work on deck. Instead, finish slides 1 to 5 with data labels, not budget. Instead, label 5 transactions as needs, joy later. When finish lines are specific, your brain knows how to start and when to stop. Starts cut overwhelm, stops protect energy. If you manage, you teach your team the same clarity. One sentence outcomes, owners and times, paths for questions. You praise quiet reliability more than frantic rescue. You do not reward burnout stories. You reward design and follow through. Culture shifts when leaders model what they say. If you do not manage, you still influence. You write short subject lines that tell the truth. You set options instead of vague objections. You ship recaps that close loops. People relax around you because they know where they stand. Trust rises because you make work smoother for everyone. Reliable is my brand. Reliable is my peace. Your rhythm holds only if your boundaries hold, and boundaries hold only if you keep them simple enough to remember under pressure. You choose a small set of default lines and you use them. You do not invent new speeches each time. You keep your voice steady and your message the same. You do not escalate unless necessary. You simply keep the door of your decision in place. Be kind, be clear, be consistent. You also widen your capacity for joy on purpose. Self-trust is not just about defense. It is about delight you can count on. You schedule small pleasures that match your money and your energy. A library hold picked up on a walk. A 10-minute stretch with music after dinner. A simple meal with a friend where the cost and time are clear. Joy planned is not joy diminished. It is joy protected. Here is a ready-to-say line for invitations that you want to enjoy without drift. I'm in for the cozy version, 1 hour and a walk. You set the vibe and the container. Your chances of real enjoyment rise because you built a plan that fits you now. Here is a ready-to-say line for work when priorities collide. To protect quality, which item do you want me to drop or delay? You move the decision where it belongs and you refuse to pay with exhaustion. Here is a ready-to-say line for family when a sensitive topic keeps resurfacing. I won't discuss that today. If it stays on the table, I'll step outside and rejoin when we switch. You speak with respect and you act with consistency. Here is a ready-to-say line for money when a friend suggests an expensive plan. I'm in with a spend cap of $35. If costs go higher, I'll meet you after. You hold the friendship and your budget in the same hand. Clarity makes joy easier. Evenings are for integration, not self-critique. You turn the day into data and care. You ask what helped, what hindered, and what to tweak. You move one item to a better slot. You write a single line for morning you so she does not wake into fog. You do not chase a perfect night routine. You choose 2 steps you can keep and you keep them. Here is a micro practice to close the day. Name 3 proofs and 1 adjustment out loud. Proofs are kept promises, however small. I protected my focus block. I spent on what matched my values. I sent 1 clean boundary line. Adjustment is 1 lever you will move tomorrow. Start the deck earlier. Block lunch. Put my card away before 9. You end the day with truth and direction. Because money clarity is central to your peace, you add 1 more gentle layer, a tiny values budget for the month. You pick 3 categories that matter now and you give them simple names: health, learning, connection. You assign small amounts that fit today's reality. Then when you spend inside those categories, you write the value name next to the transaction. Seeing the word connects the purchase to your why. Random turns into chosen. You also define your no-spend triggers with kindness rather than shame. Late night equals pause. Ads equal pause. Tired equals pause. The pause is a breath and a question. What value would this serve? What will it replace? If you cannot answer, you wait. Waiting is power because it returns choice to you. Delays are doors back to myself. Work will still bring sudden asks that test your steadiness. You keep a clear frame ready. Situation, impact, options. Situation, 2 new tasks landed today. Impact, the timeline now exceeds the quality window. Options, extend to Thursday or reduce scope. You speak the frame without heat. Most people will choose an option when the map is simple. Friends will still text when you are at capacity. You keep connection without giving up your lane. You reply with warmth and shape. I want to hear everything. Voice note me 2 highlights and I'll listen at lunch. You stay present in a way your day can hold. family will still invite you into roles that no longer fit. You stay loving and you decline. I'm stepping back from default organizer this season. If you want the checklist, I'll share it and cheer you on. Your words match your actions, so the new pattern sticks. You also repair swiftly when you miss your own line. You apologize cleanly and you reset the container. I said I would be off at 8 and I slipped. I am logging off now and I will protect that time tomorrow. You do not make a speech, you make a promise you can keep. Self-trust grows in the kept, not in the dramatic vow. Deep focus returns when you reduce context switching. You prevent tab sprawl by choosing a simple rule. 5 tabs maximum, one of them your anchor doc. When you hit 6, you close until you are back to 5. This keeps your mind from fracturing. Fracture is expensive. Simplicity is cheap and strong. Here is a micro practice for the next time your mind scatters. Write 3 words, now, next, no. Under now, one tiny action you can complete in a minute. Under next, the next step after that. Under no, the things that try to insert themselves. Do the now, revisit the next. Guard the no, you just gave your brain a lane. Because you are building a life you can fund with dignity, you explore small ways to increase stability without burning out. If you freelance, consider retainers where your work repeats and your value compounds. If you are salaried, look for process improvements that save your team time and make them visible. When your impact is clear, asking for fair pay becomes a continuation of the facts, not a leap. Money becomes a conversation grounded in value. Value stated calmly earns respect. Your social energy is a resource. You treat it with the same care as your time and money. You map your week for connection that nourishes rather than drains. One deep conversation. One light touch. One no that keeps space open. You leave small openings for spontaneous delight, but you do not sacrifice sleep or solvency for fear of missing out. You trust that the connections that feed you will welcome your clarity. On days when fear of judgment spikes, you remember what you are practicing. You are practicing a life where your actions match your values, your money matches your priorities, and your voice matches your truth. People who care about you will adjust. People who only liked you when you carried the cost may fade. That is not failure. That is your new map doing its job. You also prepare for travel days, family days, and launch days when rhythm breaks. Instead of hoping for normal, you choose the minimums. 1 glass of water on waking. 1 anchor sentence. 1 values-based money check. 1 boundary line spoken kindly. Minimums protect identity when structure flexes. You stay you in motion. Here is a ready-to-say line for a launch week at work. This week I am focused on delivery and will reply to non-urgent messages after 3. For anything urgent, call. Clear lanes prevent the slow erosion that turns into resentment. You set expectations and then you meet them. Here is a ready-to-say line for a friend when you are traveling. Time is odd this week. I can trade 2 voice notes on Friday, then a proper catch-up next week. You keep the thread without forcing a shape that does not fit. Here is a ready-to-say line for family before a visit. I'm excited to see you and I will be offline 1 to 3 each day for rest and calls. I'll rejoin after. You offer the plan and keep it. People learn how to be with you inside your real life. Consistency teaches others how to respect my time. Close this part by knitting your rhythm into one page you can see. You keep it simple. At the top, your identity line, I choose with care and follow through with ease. Then the 3 daily phases, orientation, delivery, integration. Under each, 1 sentence of what it means for you. At the bottom, 3 default lines you will use this week for work, friends, and family. You place the page near your desk or on your phone's lock screen. You are not seeking inspiration. You are building rails you can actually ride. Here is your final micro practice today. Open your calendar and protect two small windows this week. One is a focus block for your anchor. One is a money check that lasts 10 minutes. Invite yourself and accept the invitation. When the reminder pings, treat it like a promise to someone you respect, because you are someone you respect. Today, I run a simple rhythm that fits my life and funds my values. You turned daily structure into a quiet rhythm, protecting your focus blocks, shaping plans that fit your energy, and giving each dollar a role aligned with your values. Now you extend that rhythm beyond today, building long-range trust so your choices hold steady across bigger seasons, brave goals, and unexpected change. Begin with sustainable ambition. Ambition is not a sprint. It is a direction walked at a humane pace. You choose aims that express your values rather than your fear of falling behind. You design aims with floors and ceilings so progress has room to breathe. The floor keeps you moving when energy is thin. The ceiling invites your best on strong days. You stop bargaining with your worth through outcomes and you start proving your steadiness through process. Ambition becomes a trail you maintain, not a cliff you fear. You clarify your next season with one page. Write a single sentence outcome for work, one for relationships, one for money. Work might be lead the launch with calm quality. Relationships might be deepen one core friendship with monthly unhurried time. Money might be build a 2-month buffer while funding health and learning. Under each sentence, write the very next small action, not the plan for the quarter, the next step only. When you finish that step, you write the next. Aims stay alive because they are always one step away from motion. Direction first, then the next honest step. You will meet opportunity. You will learn to choose with calm criteria instead of adrenaline. Create a short fit test and keep it where you can see it. Does this align with my 3 values? Is the trade visible and acceptable? Will this still feel right after the applause fades? If a new project, role, or invitation passes the test, you move. If it fails, you decline without theater. You protect capacity for what you truly want rather than filling the calendar with what looked shiny for a minute. Here is a micro practice you can run in under 1 minute when a tempting ask lands. Write the word fit on a note and jot yes or no beside each of your 3 values. Then add one line for trade. If you cannot name one thing you will drop, the yes is not real. Delay until you can name it or say no. Seasons bring change. Some changes you choose, some arrive without asking. Your self-trust is your go bag. You prepare 2 kinds of plans, steady state and storm. The steady state plan is your normal rhythm. The storm plan is your minimums when life tilts. Storm plan is simple: 1 glass of water on waking, 1 clear message to someone who matters, 1 minimum for money awareness, 1 boundary line kept. Minimums keep identity intact while the winds move. When the storm passes, you ramp back with patience instead of punishing yourself for being human. Minimums are not failure, they are lifelines. At work, long-range trust comes from managing dependencies with clarity. You map the pieces you own and the pieces you rely on. You do not wait for a block to become a crisis. You surface it early with calm language and options. To deliver with quality, we need final data by Tuesday 10 a.m. If that slips, I recommend moving delivery to Thursday 4 p.m. or reducing sections 2 and 4. You move conversations from vague hope to practical choice. Teams resolve faster because you are steady and specific. Friendships deepen when you design intentional touchpoints rather than relying only on availability. Rhythm beats spontaneity in busy seasons. You propose 1 recurring connection and you keep it small. First Sunday tea, 10 to 11:30. When life gets full, the rhythm holds you both. If schedules burst, you keep contact with short voice notes and honest check-ins. I care about you. Bandwidth is low this week. Tell me 1 good thing and 1 hard thing, and I'll respond tonight. Love is maintained, not assumed. Families thrive when logistics meet kindness. You prevent last-minute friction with simple shared documents, early decisions, and time caps. You do not become the sole project manager by default. You share tools and roles. You say, I'll set up a one-page plan with dates and owners. After that, I'm stepping back from approvals so we all share the lift. You keep affection high by keeping roles clear. Shared plans lower temperature and raise care. Your money expands from weekly clarity to seasonal strategy without becoming heavy. You keep the three-line mirror and you add two light structures, a tiny buffer and two sinking bowls. Buffer is safety for surprise bills. Sinking bowls are for predictable but irregular costs like travel and health. You fund them with small, regular amounts so future expenses arrive to a welcome, not a scramble. You name the bowls with values. Connection trip, strong body. Names make saving feel like choosing joy in advance. Here is a micro practice to start those bowls in under a minute. Open your notes and write 2 bowl names with a monthly target beside each. Add the smallest auto move you can manage, even $10 counts. Put a reminder on the first of the month to check the amounts. Watching the bowls fill slowly is a quiet confidence builder. You are not hoping, you are planning. Build a simple raise script that respects your contribution. You do not wait for perfect timing. You choose a reasonable window and prepare facts. Over the last 6 months, I led the client migration that protected $320,000 in revenue, created a QA checklist that cut errors by 30%, and mentored 2 new hires to independent delivery. Based on scope and market, I'm seeking a 7 to 10% adjustment. How can we structure this for this quarter? You ask without apology. You welcome discussion. You remain steady because you are describing alignment, not pleading for worth. Compensation is calibration, not a verdict on my value. If you freelance, you treat pricing as a living system. You track your time honestly for 3 projects, you calculate effective rates, and you adjust scopes before you adjust your standards. When a client challenges your rate, you keep warmth and options. That rate reflects research, drafting, and 2 review rounds. If you'd like to meet your budget, we can narrow to essentials and 1 round of edits. Clarity and flexibility on scope protect both quality and income. Your digital world can either amplify your values or diffuse them. You design a media diet that earns its place. You choose a small set of inputs that inform, uplift, or teach. You place boundaries around rabbit holes. You set a time window for news and keep it short. You unfollow accounts that trigger comparison spirals. When FOMO whispers, you respond with a grounded line. I am living my actual life and I like how it feels. You replace vague unease with specific choices that return attention. Here is a micro practice for digital reset. Move all attention-hungry apps into a folder named Wait. Place your calendar, notes, reading, and music on your first screen. For 1 week, open Wait only inside a planned window. Notice the calm that returns when your thumb stops auto-seeking sparkles. You make space for learning because growth builds trust. You create a humble learning loop. Choose 1 skill, define a tiny curriculum, practice 10 minutes 3 times a week, ship 1 small output every 2 weeks, and reflect. Learning becomes a low-drama habit rather than a noisy identity project. You do not need a new you. You need a skill practiced lightly and consistently that serves your aims. Small skills stacked steadily change what I can promise. When courage is required, you script yourself into the room. Courage is not loud. Courage is a clear sentence spoken at a normal volume. You write that sentence before the moment. I'm proposing we freeze scope today to protect launch quality. I'm a no to weekend work. Here are options that keep us on track. I'm keeping my budget line this month. I'll join next time. You practice twice out loud. You say it when the moment comes. The room learns something about you. You learn something about you. Here is a micro practice to prep for a high-stakes ask. Write your sentence. Stand, look at a spot on the wall level with your eyes and speak the line 3 times, 1 beat slower than normal. Then sit and write one sentence you will say if the ask is challenged. You will feel your body settle because you have a plan for both paths. Work scripts help you hold lines without heat. When timelines tighten without trade-offs, right? To maintain quality, we either extend delivery to Thursday 4 p.m. or reduce analytics to top-line findings. Please confirm which path fits. When chat pings multiply, right? I'm in focus 9 to 11 for delivery. Tag me for decisions. I'll scan and respond after 11. When cross-team requests bypass your process, right? Please post in the project channel so we avoid rework. I'll pick it up there at 9 a.m. You repeat calmly until the new norm sticks. Friend scripts keep connection clear. When expenses outpace your plan, send, I'm in for Saturday within a $35 cap. If costs rise, I'll meet for a walk and tea instead. When you need conversation without problem solving, say, can we do listening only for 10 minutes? I'll ask for ideas if I want them. When a plan spreads beyond your energy, right? Yes to seeing you and I'm good for 1 hour. Cozy version, please. Family scripts protect closeness with boundaries. When topics cross your line, say, I won't discuss that today, let's keep to our plan. When tasks are assigned to you by habit, say, I'm not available to coordinate. If you want, I'll share the checklist and you can run with it. When last-minute requests arrive, text. For non-urgent needs, ask 2 days ahead. If it's urgent, call and say urgent at the start. Short, warm, consistent. Respect and clarity are how I keep the people I love close. Your calendar becomes a living document rather than a gilt wall. You place white space like oxygen. You hold review moments weekly and monthly. In weekly reviews, you tune. In monthly reviews, you choose a theme and a trim. Theme is a value spotlight like health or stability. Trim is one thing you will reduce to make room for the theme. You apply the trim ruthlessly and kindly. You enjoy the space it creates. Here is a ready-to-say line to protect that space at work. To keep the launch smooth, I'm declining new meetings in my first block this week. Share topics asynchronously and I'll reply after 11. Leaders respect people who respect their own capacity. If someone pushes, you calmly restate and offer an alternative. Consistency builds the norm. Here is a ready-to-say line when a friend suggests a plan during your recovery window. I'm keeping that slot for recharge so I can be a better human. Coffee Sunday 10 to 11:30 would be lovely. You do not apologize for rest. You plan it as if you matter because you do. Here is a ready-to-say line when family wants immediate decisions. I decide on Sunday after I review the week. I'll text you then. You protect your process. You become easy to be around because people know when and how you decide. The process makes me dependable. Your identity solidifies as evidence piles up. Evidence is not what you intended. Evidence is what you did. Keep a light ledger called Kept Promises, 1 line per day. It might say kept my budget cap, held my after-hours boundary, walked for 10 minutes, asked for clarity before saying yes, funded the connection bowl. On heavy days, read the last 10 lines. You will see steadiness you would have missed. Your brain updates its picture of you from anxious to reliable. Money clarity meets generosity with balance. You choose how you give so you feel proud, not drained. You set a small monthly give amount that fits your season. You give it where it aligns with your values and capacity. When additional asks come, you reply with kindness and a line. I've placed my giving for this month, cheering you on. You do not fund out of guilt. You fund out of choice. Choice maintains dignity for everyone. Here is a micro practice before any buy over $100. Do the 3R check you created: reason, range, replace. Say them out loud. If the reason is vague, you wait 1 day. If the range exceeds your current plan, you adjust another line first or you say not now. If you cannot name replace, the purchase is a wish, not a fit. Wishes are welcome, fits get funded. You keep the difference clear. When conflict appears, you rely on your steady frame. You state the shared goal, name facts, offer options, and ask for a decision. You refuse to attend arguments where the rules are chaos and the scoreboard is blame. You bring people back to structure. The room quiets because structure is safe. Safety welcomes better thinking. Facts, options, decision. Repeat until calm. You continue to care for your body as the vehicle for all these choices. Light and water remain non-negotiable. Movement becomes a relationship rather than a punishment. You stop measuring worth by intensity and start measuring trust by consistency. 10 minutes that you keep wins over the heroic workout that becomes a story about failure. Your breath stays your companion in every meeting, every call, every boundary. Longer exhales, one notch slower speech. Eye level steady. Your voice rides your breath and your message lands. On travel weeks and event weeks, you carry your minimums and your money rhythm. You pack a clear ask for work time, a quiet boundary for evenings, a tiny budget for joy, and a quick repair line in case you slip. You script them before you go. I'm online 8 to 12 for delivery, replies after. I'm off at 9, I'll rejoin in the morning. Joy cap is $40, I'm choosing one small treat. I missed my line last night, I'm back on it today. You arrive with rails ready. Trip stop derailing the life you have built. Here is a micro practice to end your week with alignment. Open your calendar and money note. Write 3 lines: what helped flow, what added noise, what I'll change next week. Then schedule 2 blocks, 1 focus and 1 money check. Accept the invites. You finish with a clear yes to your future self. You might still hear the old noise: be everything, be everywhere, spend to belong, answer now, say yes or lose your chance. You do not fight the noise, you lower the volume, you return to your map, you choose the next honest step, you live the week you can stand behind. Over time, that week becomes your normal, and the old noise sounds like a distant radio in another room. I lead my life with calm decisions, clear limits, and money aligned to my values. You just shaped long-range steadiness with season plans, floors and ceilings, and small goals that fund what matters. You practiced clear options at work, chose connection formats that fit your energy, and let numbers tell calm stories about your values. Now you turn toward leadership. How you lead yourself in public, how you lead rooms without shouting, and how you lead your future with decisions you can stand behind. You practice presence that does not apologize. You practice boundaries that invite respect. You practice money confidence that is quiet and factual. You let your choices teach people how to treat you, and you let your voice teach you who you are. Leadership begins with how you enter spaces. You arrive as the same person in each room. Your boundaries do not wobble depending on who is watching. Your yes and your no match the plan you made when you were calm. You choose to be a steady temperature, not a mirror of other people's heat. This is not performance. This is integrity that feels like relief. Create a simple entry ritual for any important room. Before you open the door or unmute, breathe once and place your attention on your feet. Name your purpose in 1 line, protect quality and clarity. Release your shoulders and decide your pace, 1 notch slower than the room. You are not here to impress. You are here to serve the outcome and honor your limits. My steadiness is my message before I say a word. Rooms run on expectations. Many expectations are unspoken and unfair. You do not fight shadows. You illuminate them. You ask for shared definitions of done, of urgent, of good. You move teams from assumption to agreement. You stop paying the tax of confusion with your evenings and your health. Here is a micro practice for the first 5 minutes of any meeting. Ask a single clarifying question, then write the answer where all can see. What decision are we leaving with today? Keep the line visible. Return to it whenever the room drifts. Your calm insistence on purpose becomes culture. When your expertise is challenged, you do not compete in volume, you compete in clarity. You state facts, show impact, and make a simple request. You do not make your worth a debate topic, you keep the work the work. People trust the person who refuses drama and keeps the path clear. Facts first, clear trade-offs, then a decision. Boundaries are the architecture of sustainable leadership. You build three structures: time, attention, and tone. Time means you protect your first focus block and your recovery windows. Attention means you design communication lanes that fit the work. Tone means you remain warm and firm even when others are frantic. Warmth without backbone invites chaos. Backbone without warmth invites fear. You carry both. Work boundary scripts sharpen your framework. When priorities multiply, right? To protect quality, I can deliver A by Thursday 4 p.m. or B by Wednesday noon. Which do you prefer? When after-hours pings become a norm, right? I'll pick this up at 9 a.m. for true urgency call. Otherwise, I'll reply in business hours. When approvals stall, right? To hit Thursday 4 p.m., I need sign-off by today at 2. If that slips, we move the date or reduce scope. You are not defensive. You are directing traffic with clear signs. Friend leadership is not control, it is curation. You name the shape that lets connections stay sweet. You say, I want unhurried time with you and I have a weekday cap. Walk and talk 6 to 7, yes. You say, I'm in for the simple version. You protect the friendship from the slow burn of resentment by placing a container you can love. Family leadership honors love and reality. You sidestep old roles by making logistics visible and time caps consistent. You say, I'm happy to host lunch 12 to 2, I'm not available to coordinate beyond that. You say, I won't discuss my finances today. You repeat once, then you act. Predictable action teaches faster than long speeches. Clarity protects closeness. Money is part of leadership because money shapes choices. You become a calm steward by using numbers to reflect values and reality. You stop treating money as a private shame and start treating it as a shared design problem with yourself and, where relevant, your people. You build confidence by keeping 3 habits: the daily 3-line mirror, a weekly 10-minute review, and a short monthly theme with 1 trim. This is light but powerful. It keeps drift small and dignity high. Here is a micro practice for any purchase that feels emotionally loud. Write 1 sentence. The value this serves is, the trade I choose is. If you cannot fill both blanks, delay 24 hours. If you can, say a calm yes. Buying stops being a mood and becomes a choice. Leadership also means naming your capacity aloud. You stop pretending you can stretch forever. You call reality early and propose paths. This keeps trust intact because surprises drop. You do not martyr yourself. You map options and invite decisions where they belong. Early truth is kinder than late heroics. Negotiation becomes simpler when you turn it into a math and fit conversation. You present outcomes you've delivered, the scope on the table, and the options that fit the budget or the timeline. You anchor to data and to your standards. You do not bargain with your sleep. You do not discount your boundaries. If the fit is wrong, you step back with respect. Ready to say lines help you hold center when stakes feel high. I'll say the clear thing and keep the tone warm. I can meet the timeline or the added scope, not both, which matters more. That rate reflects research and 2 review rounds. We can narrow if needed. I decide on Sunday, I'll confirm then. Thanks for the offer. I work inside paid scopes, happy to revisit if budget opens. Focus deepens when you reduce the number of open loops you carry. You practice the fewest projects rule: 2 big rocks, 1 medium, rest is maintenance. You keep a not now parking lot so ideas are not lost and your present is not overwhelmed. You tell your team and your loved ones what is on your plate and what is not. You stop hiding your limits. Hidden limits become broken promises. Spoken limits become clean plans. Here is a micro practice when your brain starts to scatter mid-afternoon. Write 3 bullets: now, next, no. Under now, 1 action under 60 seconds. Under next, the step after. Under no, the temptations. Do the now, glance at the no and smile. Return to next. You have given your brain rails again. You will be asked to make exceptions. Some exceptions are wise, some are energy debt with interest. You decide with a 3-part filter: precedent, proportionality, purpose. Precedent asks what this teaches others to expect. Proportionality asks if the cost matches the benefit. Purpose asks if it serves the shared outcome, not just someone's convenience. When the filter says no, you deliver a warm refusal with a path. People learn the design of a yes with you. Your voice grounds others when conflict rises. You model de-escalation by naming the goal, naming a fact, and proposing a next step. You do not diagnose character, you talk about work. At home, you do not diagnose the past. You talk about this moment and the plan. Rooms exhale around you because you are simple and fair. Goal, fact, next step, then breathe. Leadership includes how you receive no. You accept it with grace and curiosity. Thank you for the clarity. What would make this a yes next quarter? You collect data, not wounds. Grace today keeps doors open tomorrow. Your confidence becomes quiet because your identity is not up for negotiation. Teach people how to use your time. Publish your rhythms kindly. I batch decisions at 1 and 4. Tag me for decisions, otherwise I'll scan threads at those times. I'm offline 8 to 9 for deep work. For urgent, call for ideas. Book a 20-minute huddle. Containers reduce friction. Rivers move faster than floods. Here is a work boundary script when you are assigned tasks without your input. To keep priorities aligned, please route new work through the planning doc. I'll review during my 4 p.m. decision window. You do not argue, you point to the lane and you keep your lane. Here is a friend script when weekend plans balloon. I'm in for cozy time, 1 hour cap. If the plan grows, I'll join for the first part and bow out. You protect joy by shaping it. Here is a family script when a relative presses for details you won't share. I'm not discussing that. If we stay there, I'll take a short walk and rejoin. You keep love in the room by staying steady. Your money voice becomes practical and proud. If you lead a team, you advocate for fair budgets and realistic timelines so the work can be good without people burning out. If you are solo, you advocate for fair rates and scopes. In both cases, you frame it as quality and continuity, not personal preference. Quality and continuity are easy to defend because everyone benefits. Here is a ready-to-say line for a raise conversation. In the last 2 quarters, I shipped these outcomes: shortened onboarding by 25%, retained 2 key clients, and reduced rework with a checklist. I'm seeking a 7 to 10% adjustment to align scope and market. How can we structure that this quarter? You state facts. You ask a clean question. You stop talking. Silence does half the work. Here is a micro practice to pair with your monthly money theme. Write 1 joy line you will fund on purpose this month and 1 noise line you will trim. Joy, picnic with Mia, $20. Noise, random delivery, aim to 0 weekdays. Post the 2 lines on your fridge or notes app. You are building a life you can afford and enjoy. Your schedule will sometimes break. Leadership is how you repair it. You communicate early and propose options. To deliver quality after the late change, I propose moving to Thursday 4 p.m. or narrowing to sections 1 to 3. Please confirm. Then you keep the new promise. You do not apologize for reality. You work with it. You cultivate a reputation for finishing clean. You leave each meeting with owners and times. You send a two-line recap. You close loops the same day when possible. You store decisions where people can find them. This is not bureaucracy. This is care. Care saves hours later. Close the loop now. Give everyone an easier tomorrow. Focus and money clarity continue to travel together. Before you commit to any large purchase or project, you use the two-door frame. Is this a two-way door we can test, or a one-way door that needs more counsel? For two-way doors, you run a pilot. For one-way doors, you invite one trusted perspective and you sleep on it. Sleep can be the difference between an aligned yes and an expensive regret. Here is a micro practice called the pilot promise. For any new tool or subscription, set a 30-day check-in when you buy. You will ask, is it earning its place? If not, cancel. You stop carrying digital clutter and costs that don't serve you. Inner leadership is the way you talk to yourself on hard days. You drop the courtroom and pick up the lab. In the lab, you ask, what helped? What hindered? What I will change? You adjust one variable at a time so you can see what works. You become a curious scientist of your own life rather than a harsh judge. Scientists keep moving, judges stall. Your body is still the instrument. Keep the basics simple: light, water, movement, breath, sleep. Protect one non-negotiable per day and rotate if needed. One day it is morning light. One day it is 10-minute walk. One day it is a hard stop at 10 p.m. Perfection is fragile, rotation is robust. When people try to make their urgency your emergency, you move to process. Happy to help within these lanes. What moves to make room? Or, what breaks if we do this tomorrow at 10? Many fires vanish when someone names the trade. You be that someone. Urgency without trade-offs is a story. I ask for the trade. You strengthen courage with rehearsal, not hype. Before a tough conversation, practice 3 lines: the goal, the boundary, the option. Say them at a calm pace. Write them on a card. Bring the card. Tools are allowed. Tools make you stronger. Here are 4 more ready-to-say lines to keep. I'm not available for that ask. Here is what I can offer. I'll respond after my focus block. That doesn't work for me. Let's look for a fit. I'm choosing the simple version. Leadership is also knowing when to exit. You can leave a chat that disrespects your time. You can leave a role that rewards burnout. You can leave a plan that looked good on someone else but does not fit you. Exits are not dramas. Exits are choices that free you to serve where your values and capacity meet. Your friendships and family ties strengthen when your word becomes predictable. You show up when you said you would. You leave when you said you would. You spend within what you said you would. Predictability is kindness. People relax around you and you relax around yourself. Calm replaces performance. Presence replaces guilt. Here is a micro practice to seal your day: the 2-sentence closure. Sentence 1, one boundary I kept today. Sentence 2, one aligned money choice I made. Read them out loud. Your brain learns from your own voice. Identity cements. Tomorrow you will carry this leadership into rooms again. You will not be perfect. You will be consistent enough. You will say the clear line once. You will ask the clean question. You will choose the fit spend. You will protect the block that funds your promises. You will leave when the shape is wrong and you will stay when the shape serves. This is grown, grounded power. It is quiet. It is reliable. It is yours. A calm, clarity, and clean choices. This is how I lead my life. You just practiced everyday leadership that is calm and fair. You learn to enter rooms with steady purpose, to name trade-offs without heat, and to speak money as a simple language of value and fit. Now you close the circle. You weave self-trust into a way of living that carries you through ordinary days and important thresholds. You honor what you built, small promises kept, boundaries spoken cleanly, dollars placed where they matter, relationships held with kindness and clarity. This last part is a gentle seal. You choose what to continue, what to release, and what to celebrate. You commit to being the same person in quiet moments and in public ones. You carry your voice, your values, and your pace into the seasons ahead. Begin with continuity. Your life changes, but your anchor remains. You wake, you drink water, you choose one true outcome for the day, and you protect the first block that funds it. When chaos knocks, you do not argue with the storm. You run your minimums and re-enter with the next honest step. This is how you keep faith with yourself when motivation fades. Consistency is your quiet power source. Today I keep one promise to myself and let that be enough. You release old stories that no longer fit. Stories like I am only valuable when I overdeliver. Stories like I must spend to belong. Stories like saying no is selfish. You trade them for accurate lines you can live. I am valuable when I deliver what I said I would. I spend on what I value. Saying no protects the yesies I keep. Your mind learns from repeated truth. Your calendar and your bank app display the evidence. Here is a micro practice to retire an old story. Write one sentence you are leaving behind. Write one sentence that replaces it. Read the new sentence out loud twice and place it near your workspace. When the old sentence rises, reply with the new one and a small aligned action within 1 minute. Voice plus action rewires belief. Your boundaries mature into simple rituals. You no longer brace for pushback because you expect to meet it and you know what to say. At work, you route requests through clear lanes and you publish decisions where all can see them. With friends, you shape plans that fit energy and budget before you say yes. With family, you refuse topics that harm connection and offer formats that keep warmth. Boundaries become how you love well, not how you distance. Work script for a recurring scope squeeze sent by email. To maintain quality, we can extend delivery to Thursday 4 p.m. or keep Monday and remove the analytics deep dive. Please confirm which path fits. Your words are short and useful. You respect outcomes and you respect your limits. Friend script by text when a plan grows beyond capacity. Yes to time together, cozy version, 1 hour walk and talk, my treat for tea. You lead with desire and shape the container. Connection stays sweet because you protect it. Family script in person when a line is crossed. I'm not discussing that. If we stay there, I'll step out and return when we switch topics. You keep tone warm and action consistent. Over time, the pattern shifts because you hold your lane. Firm lines with soft edges, clear and kind at once. You keep tending money as a reflection of values. You stop using numbers to judge yourself and start using them to steer. Needs, joy later remains your daily mirror. Buffers and bowls continue to grow. You review once a week for 10 minutes and once a month you choose a theme and a trim. You build a spending identity you like, a calm steward who funds health, learning, and connection while cutting the noise that used to creep in. Here is a money micro practice you can do today. Pick one transaction and label it with the value it served. If the label feels thin, decide the smallest trim you will make this week to rebalance. One adjustment. No drama, alignment over perfection. You celebrate proof, not perfection. At night you name 3 kept promises, a boundary held, a focus block protected, a value-aligned purchase. You add one adjustment for tomorrow. You let your nervous system register that you are reliable. The next morning you feel the upstream benefit. Decisions come easier because your identity is already decided. Evidence first, then confidence. You prepare for thresholds, promotions, moves, grief, new roles, launches. You do not wait to feel ready. You build a threshold plan with 5 lines: minimums, focus, communication, money, recovery. Minimums are water, breath, light, and one boundary. Focus is the one outcome that truly moves the needle. Communication is how and when people can reach you. Money is a spend cap and one joy line to keep the week humane. Recovery is how you close the day. 5 lines fit on a card, you carry it. You cross the threshold as yourself. Here is a micro practice to design that card in under a minute. Write the 5 words: minimums, focus, communication, money, recovery. Fill each with one short sentence. Place the card near your laptop. Use it during any intense week. You continue refining your voice. You ask clean questions that bring rooms back to purpose. You summarize and propose next steps. You negotiate by naming trade-offs. You decline without injury. You invite with specificity. You become a person whose emails people open because they are short and useful. You become the person others trust to say the clear thing with a steady tone. Ready to say lines you keep close. I can do this well by Thursday 4 p.m., or we can keep Monday with a smaller scope. I'm a yes to connection and a no to late nights on weekdays. I'm choosing the spend that matches my values. I'll join the next round if costs rise. I'll answer after my focus block for urgent call. I appreciate the clarity. I'll confirm by noon tomorrow. You allow joy to be planned and small. You stop waiting for perfect weekends to feel alive. You put tiny pleasures into your weeks with intention and within your budget. A library book and a sunlit corner. A stretch with music before bed. A walk with a friend around the block. You treat joy like a responsibility to your future self. Joy is not the opposite of discipline. Joy is what discipline protects. Your environment remains your ally. You keep your first screen quiet. You keep your desk clear enough to invite work. You keep a water glass near and a card with your 3 words: focus, relationships, money. You do not chase hacks. You maintain supports. Supports create a life that feels like you. Design beats willpower, and I design for who I am. When you stumble, you repair early and lightly. You send the clean apology and the new plan. You adjust a bowl or a cap. You rest on purpose. You remind yourself that grown-up calm is not rigid. It has boundaries and it has breath. Then you take the next honest step. You re-enter. You continue. Your dignity does not depend on a perfect streak. You keep modeling adulthood at work. You present facts, frame options, and ask for decisions. You close loops and store decisions where people can find them. You refuse to let urgency erase process. You reward clarity, not martyrdom. You stop performing panic. You lead by removing confusion and protecting quality. Rooms get better because you are in them. At home, you lead with presence. You set time caps and you keep them. You listen before you advise. You say what you mean and you keep it short. You make space for your own rest so you can show up as a human, not a frayed wire. You love with boundaries because that is how love stays kind. Here is a micro practice for the next hard talk. Write the goal in 1 line, the fact in 1 line, and the request with 2 options. Speak slower than the room. Stop after the ask. Let silence work for you. Silence shows respect and strength at once. Identity solidifies through practice. You are now someone who directs attention with intention, who spends and saves with alignment, who speaks limits and keeps them, who repairs quickly when needed. You are not waiting to become her later. You are living her now in small, repeatable moves. The world may not applaud, and that is fine. Your life will reflect you back to you every evening when you write your 2 lines and feel the right kind of tired. Today I lived according to what I value. That is success. If you want a closing ritual for this audiobook, make it simple. Write 1 line you will carry into the next month. It might be I finish one thing before I switch. It might be every dollar has a job I can name. It might be not now is a valid answer. Place the line where morning you will see it. Tell one person who supports your growth. Keep it for 4 weeks. Evaluate with kindness. Adjust if needed. You are not chasing a new self. You are maintaining the self you chose. Money clarity remains part of this. Before you end today, look once at your 3-line mirror. Needs, joy later. Add one label. If the labels fit, you sleep easy. If they do not, you make one gentle adjustment for tomorrow. This is how a budget becomes a friend. It tells you a story and invites you to author the next paragraph. As you move forward, you will sometimes be asked to move faster than wisdom. You will sometimes be invited to pay with time or money you do not have. You will sometimes feel old patterns trying to pull you back. You know what to do. Slow your body. Speak the simple line. Ask for the trade-off. Choose what fits. Repeat. Trust is not a mood. Trust is a pattern you live. Calm, clarity, and follow through. That is my way now. In closing, thank you for walking this path. You chose small steps over drama, values over noise, and design over willpower. You learned to hear your own voice in a loud world, and you honored it with your calendar, your wallet, and your words. That is rare and it is beautiful. As you continue, remember that your life is not a test. It is a craft. You practice, you adjust, you keep what works, you let the rest fall away. You lead yourself with quiet strength, and the people who matter will feel the steadiness and draw near. You are ready to carry this forward. You are ready to be trusted by the person who matters most. You, for sharing this time and attention, you have my gratitude. And for steady companionship on your next chapters, you have a familiar voice ready when you need it. Thank you for listening with Queen Audiobooks. You sealed everyday leadership with calm asks, clear trade-offs, and money as a language of value and fit. You learn to enter rooms with purpose, protect your focus blocks, and choose clean agreements that respect everyone involved. Now you bring it all home. You craft a lasting practice that keeps your self-trust strong when routines shift, when seasons change, and when life asks for courage. You choose simple, repeatable moves that work on tired days as well as good ones. You keep your word to yourself in small pieces so the whole of your life stays aligned. Begin with a vow that fits real life. You vow to choose one thing each morning that, if done, makes the day true. Then you vow to close each evening with 2 sentences, one promise you kept and one adjustment you will make. You do not add drama when you miss. You return to the next honest step and you proceed. This is the engine. Quiet, sturdy, reliable. Today I pick one true outcome and I show up for it. Identity stays clear when you keep sorting facts from stories. Facts are what happened. Stories are interpretations that often grow teeth. When stress spikes, you pause and choose language that keeps you steady. Not I failed the day. Say I finished 2 of 4 and I will schedule the rest. Not I am bad with money. Say I made one spend that did not fit and I will rebalance this week. The words you use shape the evidence your brain collects. Here is a micro practice that takes less than a minute. When your mind spirals, write 2 lines labeled fact and choice. Under fact, write one neutral sentence about the moment. Under choice, write one action under 60 seconds that reflects your values. Do the action. Spiral loses its grip when you move. The people around you will keep learning your new map by watching your consistency. You will meet moments that test it. You will keep responding with short, respectful lines and calm follow-through. This is how trust settles in for good. Work often tests that map with shifting priorities. You answer with clarity and options. If your manager asks you to absorb a new task while holding the same deadline, you say, "To protect quality, I can deliver the new analysis by Thursday 4 p.m., or we keep Monday and remove the case study." Which path fits? You are not resisting. You are designing reality so no one pays with burnout hidden in the margins. Friendships can test the map with plans that expand. You keep closeness while shaping the container. When a weekend plan tilts toward late nights and costs that do not match your season, you say yes to time together, cozy version. 1 hour, a walk, and tea near the park. You lead with desire and pair it with a frame. Connection stays alive because the shape fits. Family can test the map with old roles and fast asks. You hold both care and structure. If a relative texts at the last minute for help that is not urgent, you reply, I plan in advance. Ask 2 days ahead and I'll see what I can do. If it's urgent, call and say urgent at the start. You teach how to succeed with you. You stop paying with resentment. Short line, warm tone, same follow through. Your time and attention remain your core resources. You treat them like something you steward, not something anyone can withdraw without your consent. You continue to use edges for time, task, and talk. You start when you said you would, you stop when you said you would, you define what done looks like before you begin. You guide conversations back to outcomes when they drift. These are not small things. These are the beams that hold up your day. Focus strengthens when you design clean handoffs to future you. End each block with one sentence at the top of your doc, resume with slide 3 and add the Q2 example. That line is a gift. It replaces morning fog with a gentle pull back into motion. A clarity for future me is kindness now. Your money continues to be a mirror of what you value, not a stage for guilt. You keep your 3 lines, needs, joy later. You keep your tiny bowls named for values that matter. You keep your cap for spontaneous plans. You continue to ask the 2-line question before a fuzzy purchase, the value it serves and the trade you choose. You make small adjustments early rather than dramatic corrections late. This is how solvency and dignity grow side by side. Here is a money micro practice you can do tonight. Open your mirror and circle one line that felt noisy this week. Decide a single trim that returns that line to alignment. You might cancel a subscription you do not use or cap delivery fees for weekdays. Then write one small joy you will fund on purpose, labeled with the value it supports. Joy does not require big spending. Joy requires intention that fits the season you are in. When you face a threshold, you will not wait for permission to honor your pace. You will prepare with a simple card that you read before the day begins. Minimums, focus, communication, money, recovery. You will choose a sentence for each. You will let that card carry you through the peak instead of adrenaline. You will exit with energy left for the rest of your life, not just the project. Big day, small rails, I am safe inside my plan. There will be days when you feel the old pull to prove yourself by doing more than you promised. You notice the urge and you practice the new proof. The new proof is delivering what you said you would on time with steady tone and communicating early when variables change. The new proof is declining work that does not fit and offering options that do. The new proof is asking for fair pay and clean scopes because quality matters. You do not perform panic anymore. You perform clarity. Here is a micro practice that protects you from reflex yes. When a new ask lands, press your thumb and finger together lightly and say, I'll confirm by noon tomorrow. This tiny anchor buys time for a real choice. You either adjust with a named trade or you decline. Delay with intention is power. It returns your future to your hands. Your body keeps teaching your voice. You continue to speak one notch slower than your racing mind wants. You breathe in through the nose for 3, out for 5. You relax your jaw, you lift your chest softly. Your words ride your breath and arrive intact. Rooms change shape because your tone is safe and your message is clear. When conversations heat up, you keep your process clean. You state the shared goal, name a fact, and make a request with options. Then you stop talking and let the room breathe. Silence is not surrender. Silence is space where people think. Space is where adult decisions happen. Goal fact options, then quiet. Your relationships deepen because your boundaries protect the parts of you that make you good to be around. You are no longer the person who says yes and disappears. You are the person who says yes to what fits and no to what does not, with warmth. You are the person who shows up when she said she would and leaves when she said she would. Predictability is love in practice. A work script to close loops after a lively meeting. Summary: extend to Thursday 4 p.m. and remove the case study. Next step: I'll send updated slides by 3. People relax because the path is visible. You saved future hours with 2 lines. A friend script when advice appears uninvited. Thank you for caring. I need listening more than ideas right now. Good friends will adjust. If they do not, you ask again. If they still do not, you step back kindly. A family script during a visit when personal topics start to encroach. I won't discuss my finances today. Let's pick the menu. You protect the conversation and you bring it back to shared ground. Kind redirection keeps the door open. You continue to practice value-based spending as a form of self-respect. When a group plan exceeds your current range, you say, I'm in within a $35 cap. If costs go higher, I'll meet you after. If you are asked to bridge a budget gap at work with your personal extra hours, you say, quality needs more time or a smaller scope. Which should we choose? You place choices where they belong. You refuse to privately subsidize decisions made in a rush. Here is a focus micro practice that dissolves avoidance. Write 3 words on a sticky: now, next, no. Under now, 1 action under 60 seconds. Under next, the follow-up step. Under no, the distractions that usually win. Place the sticky near your screen. Do the now, then the next. Guard the no, progress becomes visible again. You will have days when grief, illness, or sheer fatigue bends your plans. You will not shame yourself into motion. You will apply your storm plan with compassion. 1 glass of water after waking. 1 clear message about your capacity. 1 boundary kept. 1 line logged in your mirror. That is enough on those days. Enough keeps you in the relationship with yourself. Enough is not a consolation prize. Enough is a platform. On hard days, I keep the minimums, and I'm proud of that. As you keep living this map, you will notice quieter wins. Fewer tabs open. Fewer apologies for things you never agreed to own. Fewer purchases that feel like fog. More small moments of real joy that fit your budget and your energy. More evenings you finish with a clean sentence and a calm exhale. You are not chasing a dramatic transformation. You are practicing a craft. Crafts become beautiful through repetition. When you think about the future, you do not panic about what could happen. You design for what you can influence. You fund goals for stability and joy. You propose retainers or process improvements that stabilize your work. You ask for clarity. You keep your mornings clean. You notice which people respect your map and you stand closer to them. You notice who does not and you move some distance. You treat your attention as a home you tend, not a hallway everyone walks through. Attention is my home. I decide who and what comes in. Money clarity keeps evolving with your life. As income changes, you keep labeling each spend by value. As obligations change, you revisit your goals and adjust numbers without shame. As opportunities appear, you run them through your fit test and your 3R check. Reason, range, replace. If it earns its place, you say a clean yes. If it does not, you say a clean no. Clean is the point. Clean leaves no residue. Here is a micro practice for end of month. Write 3 lines: 1 spend that matched your values, 1 trim that relieved pressure, 1 plan for next month's theme. Themes are light, health, learning, connection, stability. You shift 1 lever, not 10. You let the change settle. You keep teaching rooms how to work with you by how you work. You publish rhythms, you honor your hours, you keep your deliverables specific. You praise teammates who keep boundaries because strong boundaries make strong teams. You stop rewarding heroics that cover for late decisions. You elevate early truth. Rooms get better. People rest more. Work improves. If pushback arrives, you meet it with steady repetition and options. I'll pick this up at 9 a.m. for urgent call. To deliver quality, we extend or we reduce, which is better. I decide on Sunday. I'll confirm then. Repetition trains faster than explanation. Your job is not to convince. Your job is to be clear and consistent. Consistency is how I teach my world how to treat my time. At home, you keep tenderness and boundaries in the same sentence. You ask for the support you need. You state what does not work for you. You invite formats that make connection easier. You let people adjust. When they do, you thank them. When they do not, you keep your lane without making anyone the villain. You are not here to win a courtroom. You are here to live a life you respect. Your closing ritual today is simple. Take 1 minute. Put your hand on your chest. Say one line you are keeping. I protect the first block that funds my anchor. Say one line you are releasing. I do not prove my worth by overgiving. Then write one line for tomorrow's compass, focus, relationships, money. You just set your feet where you want to stand. Ready to say lines to carry into your next season. I can do it well by Thursday 4 p.m., or we can keep Monday with a smaller scope. I'm a yes to connection, 1 hour cozy version. I won't discuss that today, let's stick to our plan. I'm in within a $35 cap. If costs rise, I'll meet you after. I'll confirm by noon tomorrow. You can trust yourself now because you have proof. You have kept small promises. You have spoken clear lines. You have placed dollars where they serve your values. You have repaired when you slipped. You have protected your attention and shared it with people and work that matter. This is what self-trust looks like on a calendar, in a bank app, in messages, and in a steady voice that knows when to say yes and when to say no. As you end this journey, remember that your practice is portable. It fits into travel days, family days, busy launches, and quiet weekends. It does not require perfect conditions. It requires small choices repeated. It requires a human pace. It requires warmth for yourself and firmness for your limits. You carry that with you. You already have. Thank you for walking this path. Thank you for choosing clarity over noise. Thank you for choosing design over willpower. Thank you for choosing the quiet strength of keeping your word to yourself. If you want a final sentence to carry, let it be this: calm, clarity, and follow through. That is my way now. Thank you for listening with Queen Audiobooks. You ended the last part by choosing a simple vow for each morning and night, sorting facts from stories and holding boundaries that keep your time, energy, and money aligned. You practice storm day minimums, clean options at work, cozy containers with friends, and tender firmness with family so your map stays intact in any season. Today you seal this into a living practice. You create a way of being that you can carry anywhere, at your desk, in a crowded kitchen, on a call, on a tired evening when willpower is thin. You honor the person you have become by caring for the systems that support her. You choose a rhythm that is light to hold and heavy enough to matter. You live with a steady spine and a soft voice. You trust yourself because you keep choosing what fits. Begin with the keeper's promise. You are the keeper of your attention, your calendar, your money, and your voice. You will be fair with them, not stingy. You will direct them, not drift them. You will spend them where they multiply care and reduce noise. You will notice when a door is a two-way test and when it is a one-way commitment, and you will choose with calm. Here is a micro practice that sets the tone for any day. Place your hand flat on your chest and speak one line. I will keep one promise to myself today. Then open your calendar and circle the one block that funds that promise. Defend that circle like a loyal friend. One defended circle changes the shape of a day. Today I am loyal to one true outcome. You refresh your relationship with focus by treating starts and stops as sacred. Starts are a single, visible action. Open the doc and write the first line. Stops are a short recap. At the top, one sentence that tells future you exactly where to resume. When you respect starts and stops, you dissolve the fog that used to cost you 20 minutes of warm-up and an hour of vague guilt. Another micro practice for momentum you can keep. Set a 1-minute timer, stand, roll your shoulders, drink water, and write one sentence labeled resume. Resume, draft the intro, and add the Q3 example. When the timer ends, do only that. Simple gates prevent the flood. Your communication stays clear because you choose intent first, then words. Intent guides tone. Tone carries content. Content carries agreements. Before any meaningful conversation, you write one line, what good looks like. You keep that line in your eye as you speak. You ask clean questions. You let silence do its part. You trade reactions for responses. Calm words, clear request, fair options. Work will continue to test your steadiness. You will meet deadlines pinched by late additions, pings that creep after hours, and plans that forget trade-offs. You will keep refusing confusion. You will route requests into lanes, frame choices in the open, and protect your first focus block because it funds every promise downstream. Here is a boundary script for work by chat when the goal is stretching without support. To maintain quality, I can deliver A by Thursday 4 p.m. or B by Monday as planned. Which path fits? Short, factual, adult. You set the table where decisions belong. Friendships will keep asking for presence that matches your energy. You will answer with containers that make connections sweet. When the plan grows beyond what you can enjoy, you will lead with desire and shape the frame. Yes to time together, cozy version, 1 hour a walk, tea after. Love breathes when expectations are clear. Families will keep inviting you into old roles. You will respond with kindness and structure. I'm not discussing my finances today. If we stay there, I'll step out and rejoin when we switch. You no longer rehearse speeches in your head. You repeat one simple line and act once. Consistency teaches faster than explanation. Warm tone, firm line, simple follow-through. Money remains a calm language you speak with yourself and, when needed, others. You keep the daily mirror of needs, joy, later because it turns fog into data. You keep the small bowls because they turn wishes into funded plans. You keep the weekly 10-minute review because prevention is kinder than correction. You let numbers reflect values instead of shame. Here is a money micro practice for today. Open one recent transaction and label it with the value it served. If the label feels thin, name one trim you will make this week to rebalance and write it down. Then name one joy you will fund on purpose within your current range. Small, clear, chosen. This is dignity in practice. Every dollar I place tells a story I want to live. You continue designing for tired days so the practice survives real life. Tired day design is not a downgrade, it is wisdom. You maintain 3 floors, a 1-minute orientation in the morning, a defined finish line for your main task, and a 2-sentence closure at night. Floors protect identity when energy is low. Ceilings invite stretch when energy is high. Both belong. When you face big thresholds, new roles, launches, arrivals, goodbyes, you carry a 5-line card and let it hold you. Minimums: focus, communication, money, recovery. Minimums might be light, water, a boundary, and a walk. Focus is the one true outcome that moves the weak. Communication is the path to reach you and when. Money is a cap and a joy line. Recovery is the ritual that signals you are off. You are allowed to be a person crossing a threshold, not a machine. Your relationships prosper because you keep your word. You arrive when you said you would. You leave when you said you would. You give what you said you would. You spend within what you said you would. People relax because your pattern is steady. You relax because you no longer overpromise to earn belonging. Here are ready-to-say lines to keep in your pocket. I'll respond after my focus block for urgent call. I can meet the timeline or the added scope, not both, which matters more. I'm a yes to connection, cozy version 1 hour. I won't discuss that today, let's stick to our plan. I'm in within a $35 cap. If costs rise, I'll meet you after. You continue to build rooms that are easier to work in. You begin meetings with one question that writes itself on the wall: what decision do we leave with today? You end meetings with owners and times, then send 2 clean lines so decisions do not evaporate. You praise clarity in public. You ask for trade-offs early. You never again fund chaos with your evenings. Here is a boundary script for work by email when approvals drift. To deliver by Thursday 4 p.m., I need sign-off by today at 2. If that slips, we move the date or reduce scope to sections 1 to 3. Please confirm. This is kindness to the whole team. It prevents hidden costs and late-night heroics. Here is a friend script by text when you need listening, not fixes. I care about your view, and tonight I need listening more than ideas. 10 minutes would help. Good friends will meet you there. Here is a family script in person when last-minute asks arrive. I plan 2 days ahead. If it's not urgent, please ask earlier. If it is urgent, call and say urgent at the start. You pair care with process. Over time, process calms rooms. Process is care made visible. Your inner voice remains your most important conversation. You keep it exact and gentle. When you slip, you run the loop: name, claim, aim. Name what happened in 1 sentence. Claim your part without theater. Aim at the next aligned step you can take in under a minute. This loop turns spirals into steps. Steps rebuild trust. When comparison tries to pull you off your path, you return to your map. You ask 3 questions. Does their path match my values? Can I see the hidden costs? What is the one small move I can make today toward my own aim? You choose your move and you take it. You do not outsource your worth to someone else's highlight reel. Here is a micro practice for comparison moments. Look at 3 straight lines around you, feel 2 textures, listen for 1 low sound. Then write 1 sentence: my next fit move is, do that and leave the rest. Your physical world keeps helping. You set tiny friction against what you do not want and tiny ease for what you do. Shoes by the door for morning light. Card away from the bed for late night buys. Water within reach. A note on your screen with 3 words: focus, relationships, money. Tools are allowed. Tools are wise. Design is kinder than discipline. If your income changes, your clarity stays. You adjust bowls, caps, and themes without shame. Stability is built in small, honest moves repeated. When you ask for a raise or set a rate, you anchor in outcomes and scope, and you pause after your ask. Silence does the heavy lifting. You treat money talks as collaboration, not combat. If you lead others, your boundaries serve everyone. You protect focus, time, reward early truth, and normalize clean no's that prevent messy yesies. You are not trying to be liked. You are building a culture where people can do good work and go home with energy left for their lives. That is leadership worth keeping. Here is a micro practice to close any day with dignity. Write 2 sentences out loud. One promise I kept today was, one adjustment for tomorrow is, then put your tools away. You are allowed to be done. Done is a kind way to be with myself. You close open loops with a weekly glance that takes 10 minutes and saves 10 hours. You check your calendar for white space, your mirror for drift, and your bowls for slow, steady growth. You choose one theme for the week: health, learning, stability, or connection, and one trim that makes room. You protect 2 blocks, one for your anchor and one for your money check. You keep the promise to show up for both. The week starts with truth. If you travel or face a heavy stretch, you carry your minimums and your lines. You send one clear message about your availability. You set a spend cap and a joy choice that fits. You choose the simple version of plans. You rest on purpose. You end with a clean apology if a line slipped and a clean reset for tomorrow. You do not multiply drama, you multiply steadiness. Your future will keep bringing choices. Some will ask for courage, some will ask for restraint. You will not chase them with adrenaline. You will meet them with the tools you honed here: a dial to lower noise, a compass of 3 words, an anchor sentence, a money mirror, a handful of lines that hold your lane, and a practice of floors and ceilings that respects the whole human you are. Calm, clarity, and follow through. That is my way now. As you take your next steps, remember this: you do not need to prove your worth with overgiving. You do not need to buy belonging. You do not need to explain your boundary into the ground for it to count. You belong because you are here, choosing with care and acting with integrity. Your life fits better because you designed it that way. You trust yourself because you keep your word in small, beautiful, ordinary ways. Thank you for walking this path with me. Thank you for the mornings you chose one true outcome and for the evenings you wrote 2 honest lines. Thank you for the dollars you placed on purpose, the messages you kept short and clear, the conversations you held with warm tone and firm boundaries. You are ready for the next season because you are already living it. You're listening to Queen Audiobooks.